brands. Welcome to 9 to Noon.
Club's going up on a Tuesday. It is 9 to noon. What is poppin', Wisconsin? Billy Schmid, along with Armin Sarian in the iHeart Megaplex Studios, and John Kuhn with all of you. Thank you. Thank you.
Usually I don't pop in for that, but I figured I would.
Sweet Lord, John, I've only been doing this for like 3 or 4 weeks, trying to see if this cat was, or a year, if this guy was ever going to figure this thing out. Wow. And you just jumped on. Hey, welcome to the party, Armin.
Well, I thought maybe that was your thing. I wasn't going to try and your opening thing. I thought that was your thing. Also, I'll be honest with you. You go to it. I mean, if you're one of the, like, if you're not one of the, I don't know how to say this, right? Like surface level casuals. You know, after a while, you do all that stuff. It's like doing the wave. No offense, John. I know it's more of a personal Kuhn thing, but like it's like doing the wave. I don't do the wave. Those are for the casuals that never go to a ball game before, you know.
Okay.
Oh, so when I was playing,
having fun.
When I was playing, you didn't do it. You're not going to do it for Luke Musgrave this year. You're not going to do it for Edgerrin Cooper.
I mean, I'll let all the kids. I would every
no. I got to. No, this is a serious question. Will you not do it for Luke Musgrave when he catches a 40-yard, deep ball in on a throwback? Oh, like he did down in Chicago.
It's
right?
like
when he fell down after he caught it. Yep. You didn't Luke that. You're not going to Luke it this year?
It's like I know everyone else is going to do it, so I got to pay attention to the next play.
You didn't do it in Dallas when they threw the throwback in Dallas, and he did stay on his feet? Remember Matt LaFleur after the game? And Luke Musgrave stayed on his feet. Yeah.
Did you ever just let yourself have fun? Like, were you ever hitting the Lyle Overbay back in the day?
It's like the Overbay thing. If you were sitting in the Buckethead section, you would do it. But
if you went to the game and wanted to have fun,
did you not ever do it for Luke?
Do you do the YMCA at every wedding when they put the YMCA on?
Next question.
YMCA, like
I do it at least once.
Yeah,
at least once.
Right.
You're gonna tell me you're not doing the cha-cha slide when it comes out?
Well, that's a different story entirely. The cha-cha slide.
Cha-cha slide, greater than symbol than Kuhn, Cooper, Luke Roy, all them,
or YMCA apparently.
Luke Roy. I mean, I'll let everyone else do it because I'm paying attention to what's going on.
You're
in the game.
so cool, dude.
It's a fascinating development.
Cool. I know, I'm making myself sound like a gatekeeper fan. Like I don't want to do that. I'm not trying to say I'm like higher brow fan, but like, do they know what's going on in the game? Like,
no, John's got it right. You're just too cool for school. You're just too cool.
Armin, listen, I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure they know what's going on in the game. If a fullback gets the ball and they do it, I'm pretty sure they understand.
That's one thing I've always loved about.
I'm pretty sure they understand when George Kuntz made a tackle. They knew exactly who made the tackle. They did that before Bill Jarts came on there and said tackle by George Kuntz.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And being a fan is all about participating, in my opinion, in the collective effort. Right.
I will say,
fanatic nature.
Now, Armin,
putting the shirt on.
I will say I don't know if they knew what was going on when Corey Hall made a play and they did the Kuhn chant. I mean they're
like, oh, white. Oh, wait, not the same
white.
Guy.
It's not
white running back
yes,
in the 30s. Guy. Let's do it. Well, the 5 looked like a 0.
I used to always when you guys when you both first came up, because Corey was here before you, I think, right?
Well, if you say a couple months, I mean,
that's what I mean.
Corey, I got here Corey's rookie year. Our first game as a Packer, regular season game, was the same game.
You guys have both been. I would get you guys mixed up, but I knew one was 35 and one was 30, but because Hall and Kuhn both have 4 letters on their last name, and I would just get you guys mixed. I'm like, one of our fullbacks is in there. One of our guys is in there. So
what'd you think when we were both in there?
I loved it. I talk about
it's a game changer.
I talk about that Detroit game all the
time.
The
Falcon package was
that was called the Falcon package.
Oh yeah.
Well, I always talk
you
about
had Falcon, you had Rhino, you had Hippo, but they were all a version of the 2 fullback package.
Did Hippo include Quinn Johnson? Is that how it came to the
Rhino?
Hippo?
That's the Rhino.
Big Rhino or Big Hippo had Quinn Johnson. Big Falcon had Quinn Johnson in there too.
That's what I'm talking about.
If you put Big in front of one of those, you had 3 fullbacks in the game. We did that a couple times.
That's what I'm talking about. Once Biggie was in the game, it was a game changer. When he checked in, you knew it was going down.
John, you were more of a runner. I mean, you were in college, and you're more of a running back and stuff like that. So you became a fullback. But I think Corey was converted from a college line.
So that's the funniest part. We had 3 fullbacks. I played halfback in college.
Right.
Corey played linebacker in college, and Quinn actually played fullback. He was the only one who
That's
actually
awesome.
played fullback before he got to
But
the
I tell you about the Detroit game when I don't know if it was because I think it was just Brandon Jackson or whatever it was, but at the end of the game it was Corey and John running the ball. I mean, you're like, okay, this is it. And then I was all excited, being like, well, who's going to play running back? And then he was in front, he was blocking for you. Now you must have loved
if you
that.
remember that game,
I do.
Early 2010, and I have to tell you, I have to make an admission. There was a moment in that last drive where we're trying to run the ball down. We're trying to run the clock out. We
Great
had
drive.
a huge lead. This was back in the times when, we're talking 2010. The Lions hadn't won in Green Bay since like 91.
There was a pressure there.
The Lions had not beaten the Packers in Green Bay in about 20 years. And there was huge pressure. We were up big in this game.
There were,
and the
Charles
Lions
wasn't at a pick six in that game.
The Lions started coming back in the second half, and we were in this last drive trying to run out the clock. They just pulled it within one score. We're trying to run out this clock. It started with like 6 minutes left. It gets to the last series of downs before the 2-minute warning.
I remember, yeah.
And if you run their timeouts out, so first down, I remember it was 94 Bob to the right side. We got about 2-3 yards. Second down, 94 Bob. They called a timeout. Second down, 94 Bob to the right side. Boom. They call a timeout. Third down, 94 Bob. Aaron almost lost it.
I know. I remember thinking to myself,
he's like,
third and 7 ball in the Detroit 21.
Are you kidding me? First down, 94 Bob. Second down, 94 Bob. Third, we're going to run this 3 plays in a row. We might, and I could even hear Aaron in his head going, we might as well be taking a knee.
Right.
We might as well just be taking a knee before the 2-minute warning to kick the field goal. This is scared football. I cut that thing all the way back.
Did.
I cut that thing all the way back. As soon as I got the ball, I didn't even run to the right. I ran straight to the left, jumped over a safety, got the first down. And that was when everybody on the offense was like, oh, wait, we don't have to throw to win football games. Like, we can actually run the ball.
And it was this style a lot more fun.
That was a weird existence, even for fans, because obviously we were a passing team. And I remember being at that game, and Sean Hill was quarterback for the Lions. It wasn't even. And I remember being at that game watching and thinking to myself, why aren't we trying to get first downs here? We keep running with John Kuhn. Like, why aren't we running? Why aren't we trying to get first downs? Why don't we let Aaron throw? And then they kept working. And I'm like, oh, wow, we just ran the clock out. That was an exciting drive. Now, that might have been where Aaron and McCarthy first got some beef between their play calling. I don't know. Was that John? Aaron's probably
was that the start of it?
Why aren't we throwing the ball, Mike? That was a great. He had a touchdown pass to Jermichael in that game. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. In fact,
ridiculous.
I think Aaron was sarcastic when he told us to play too. He's like, anybody want to guess what the play is?
We're going to run 94 Bob until morale improves.
Yeah, gosh. Okay.
But I remember Corey was real fired up. He was throwing those blocks and shaking you around.
If you think that was it, if you think they have beat Armin, he still ran the play. This wasn't changing the play.
Yeah, that's true.
Aaron Rodgers.
This
was Aaron Rodgers just doing what he was. This was good soldier Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, he ran the plays.
Yeah.
That was 2010. That was Super Bowl year or the year before. I can't remember. One of the 09 or it was
2010.
10, yeah. So that was a memorable game. And I remember Charles had this great pick six in that game. And I remember Jermichael
had 2 of them? Or are you just reminding us?
No, that was
just reminding us about his 48-yard interception return for a touchdown at 14:34 in the third quarter.
I'm going over the play. He dove into the end zone, became the Sports Illustrated cover. I remember that. And the cover said New Spirit in Green Bay or something like that.
That's what I'm talking about.
It was really exciting to be there. Anyway, my point
Aaron threw
was
touchdown passes to the 2 guys that got mad at him in this game.
Yeah, I know. I used to get it every week.
What'd you say, Billy?
He threw touchdowns to the 2 guys that got mad at him,
Jennings
Jermichael Finley and Greg Jennings.
The pass to Jermichael was ridiculous. You got to go back and watch that.
So we're documenting this whole game.
I just I like doing this.
And it was amazing. After this game, we had a players only offensive meeting after this game
to celebrate.
Like, what was our record after this game, Billy? We had to have been like 5-3.
This was early in the season. I think it's 3-1, 3-1 or 4-1, 3-1.
Okay, so we're 3-1.
Mm-hmm. Good start.
That's a great start to the season.
You're on pace to be 12-4.
Yeah, that's a great start to the season. 3-1. We have a players only offensive meeting Monday after all the meetings take place. There's some of us like, what the hell is going on?
What's the problem?
What is this? What is this all about?
Yeah.
And John's like, I graded out 98.
Well, you guys were 14.5-point favorites in the game.
We were.
Right.
Yes. And we almost
Right.
lost something. I mean, Detroit hadn't won there in 20 years. And
Right.
we had a players only offensive meeting at 3-1. And conversation was the offensive line and the running backs just need to give Aaron Rodgers more time so he can get the ball to the wide receivers. That was the conversation.
Wow.
We were flabbergasted.
And you're like, what? Did you see what I just did,
You
guys?
guys not watch this?
I just won this game for us.
We were so taken back in that moment and flabbergasted by the fact that this is what was going on. Aaron was confused. The line was confused. Me and Corey just sat in the back like, what in the world
What just happened
are
here?
these guys complaining about? I mean, Greg, I can remember talking with Tauscher after the meeting, and he's going, I don't understand what Greg's upset about. He scored a touchdown in his game. He's getting the ball all the time. He should be excited. What is going on?
You guys
We
need to
were
block more
receivers.
so
We
we
were
can
so
throw the
confused.
ball a little bit more.
The
This is-
receivers were used to being the guy. They wanted to get the balls. They wanted
You guys
to
got to block
receive.
better so we don't have to go into overtime and
This
lose
is-
to the Redskins the next week.
This is a passing team. I think Mason missed a field goal in that game. If I could be wrong though.
In the Washington game?
I
here?
don't know. I could be wrong. This is a passing team. Is that what they were saying? John's like, come on. Did you guys see the runs I made? I'm Peyton Hillis.
No,
Let's go.
And that goes to show you, right? That's the Super Bowl year. That's
Mhm.
that's the conclusion to the first quarter of the season, the Super Bowl year. And then we went and lost down in Tampa for to end the first half of the year. We were something like 6-2 and went down to Tampa, and they didn't have a victory. And they beat us that year. It was unbelievable. Or no, that was 2009 that happened.
Yeah, that was 2009. But this one is like right after that game. Then you guys go to Washington and lose a game to the then Redskins to go to a 16-13 overtime game. Then the overtime game the next week against
Dolphins.
RIP Tony Sperano's Dolphins. 23-20.
Yeah. There was a lot of those close losses where it got people wondering that Lions game where Aaron got hurt. But then there was that excitement of, well, this team hasn't been down 7 all year. This is a lot better than a 10-6 team. There was some confidence going in, obviously, from fans because of that.
That's fun.
Aaron comes back from the concussion, playoff run, boom, the rest is history. But I do remember that Lions game, John, when you were the star running back.
It just goes to show you, like you never. There are ups and there are downs,
Ups
and
and
even when
downs.
you think you're up, you might
Mhm.
actually be down, and even when you're down, you might actually be up. It's unbelievable. Like losing to New England in New England when the offensive line
Totally.
runs the ball all the way
Yep.
back to the 2-yard line, and we trick it off to Tom Brady and Gronk and everything else. And Charles actually dropped an interception in that game. Armin, you feel like you're down, but
Mhm.
you're actually up.
You're
I
actually
mean,
up, yeah.
you played with the Patriots there with Matt Flynn as the starting quarterback, and the Giants lost earlier in that day to the Philadelphia Eagles in that miracle in the Meadowlands Part 2,
Part 2.
and you're actually up. So it's a roller coaster ride for an entire football season, and you never really know what the heck's going on.
And then that New England game gave me one of my favorite Mike McCarthy sound bites. We're nobody's underdog. We're 8-6. That's where we're at.
No, we won that. Could have won
That's
that
where
game with
we're
Matt
at.
Flynn.
How about
No
this
doubt
one,
about
John?
it.
608 said, John, the year you won the Packers on offense, we're completely focused on getting the first down, and you got a ring. Hasn't been that way since. What do you
No.
make of that kind of
That's
statement?
a lot to say in 14 years that they haven't wanted first downs.
Well, I will say it like this. I don't agree with the concept there that the focus was getting first downs, but the philosophy on offense has changed, maybe a little bit, but over time, a lot of it every single year.
Mhm.
It always does. You got to evolve, because if you stay the same, the defenses will catch up. Hey, guess what? There's film.
Yeah.
And they watch the film and they learn from the film. And these guys are all professionals too. So you always have to be evolving. And the best teams, the teams that stay good for a really long time, evolve in a way that is productive. Sometimes you evolve in a way and it doesn't work. Hey,
Mhm.
who knew that everything about this is just like any other business, any other industry? You try things and sometimes they work, and hopefully they work more times than they don't work. But there were times, hey, when we went that hurry up offense year where we were going to do nothing but the hurry up
Yep.
offense, probably not the best thing for us.
Mhm.
Probably not. It did. That thing got old real fast. That thing didn't even sustain a full month of the season before we were talking about how do we get rid of this? How do we throw this away? Where do we go from here? So yeah, sometimes you evolve and it turns into a bad thing. I think for the most part, when we evolved, we were really good. I have told the story to you guys about speaking to the scout from the Rams and him telling me one time in an offseason, what happened to your offense? It used to be the hardest offense. We had to spend the most time. You had so many personnel groups, so many different formations, so many different play variations that it was very difficult for us to get the advanced scout to the coaches. Now, we got to look at the tape for like 2 hours. I mean, yes, that's what can happen when you are constantly evolving, because you need to constantly evolve. If when you are doing that, you don't evolve in the right way.
But even in your time, I feel like things change on personnel too. When Eddie was drafted and Eddie came in, there was more of a distinct power running feel to the offense. I mean, with Aaron Rodgers, it was always passing. But I feel, John, when you and Eddie were running together, it was more of a power running type deal.
Sometimes you evolve based on your personnel.
Right.
And sometimes you evolve just because you have to. You can't run the same stuff over and over and over. Right. Now, there was a period of time where we said, okay, our best stuff is to win the one-on-ones. Like we made an emphasis one year.
Basic wins. Yep.
We made an emphasis one year. This roster is so good. Our job is to win one-on-ones. And we were. I mean, we had multiple Pro Bowlers on the line. I mean, when you talk about at one point in time, the offensive line was David Bakhtiari, could be a Hall of Famer, Josh Sitton, Packer Hall of Famer, TJ Lang, future Packer Hall of Famer, Scott Wells, Pro Bowler, and Brian Balaga. I mean, that line, when you have a line that has everybody's going to make a Pro Bowl at some point in time, that's pretty impressive. So when you're one-on-one on the offensive line, in the backfield, me, Eddie, James Starks, I mean, you got two Pro Bowlers in the backfield. And then on the outside, between Devontae, Jordy, Randall, I mean, all those guys are Pro Bowlers. So they could say, we're just going to win one-on-ones. People might know what we're going to run, but we're better than them.
We're going to beat them.
We will find the matchup, the one-on-one matchup that is best for us. If they have really good corners, well, maybe we'll run the ball out of, Eagle personnel or 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and we'll match Kuhn and Eddie up on the linebackers if their linebackers aren't as good. If their linebackers are good, then we're going to match the wide receivers up on the cornerbacks. Either way, with Pro Bowl offensive linemen, you should be able to run or pass, and that was a philosophy one year.
And for the most part, the offense worked. I think that we don't need to do revisionist history about they didn't want to get first downs and all this. For the most part, I feel those years the offense was successful and thousands of yards of production and points.
I would say this.
That's just my opinion.
I would say looking back, let's talk about Aaron Rodgers' entire tenure, 2008 on. 2008 was his first year. It was a work in progress. It got better by the end of the year. I think it was a top 10 offense. 2009, one of the best offenses in the league. 2010, Aaron Rodgers was out for a couple of games, still one of the best offenses in the league. 2011,
the best offense in the league.
At the end of 2011, it was the best offense in NFL history.
Yes.
Best in history. 12, we were up, we were down, but we were top 10. 13, Aaron got hurt.
He got hurt, right.
13 is the year Aaron got hurt. So, yeah, things were hard to come by. 14, one of the best offenses in the league, if not the best. 15, we had a lot of injuries. Remember, that was Jordy at the beginning of the season, went down.
Right away on the first preseason game.
And that was the year we struggled with the hurry. We still tried to run that hurry-up offense for half the year. So we hamstrung ourselves there. Second half of the year, we didn't really run it as much, and we were much more effective. So we came around at the end of the year, but Jordy got hurt, and that was the year Devontae had a lot of drops. Remember? Devontae's 16.
James Jones year.
16, the offense was unbelievable, especially when Aaron said RELAX and went on that run for the rest of the season. 17 was the year that it was bad. 18 was the year that it was bad, and that's when McCarthy got canned. I mean, it took 2 years of bad offense, but everything else in between. And now you're talking Matt LaFleur era, and that's when the offense took off again.
And the entire roster had, at that point, not turned over completely, right? Like you start talking 17 and 18. That's when it did need to flip back over, and otherwise it was Devontae and Aaron. Right. Like, I mean, there wasn't a full, and Eddie was out at that point. So like the people you thought were going to be the key facets of the offense had kind of phased themselves out early.
Well, if you remember what I said, so 14 was win your one-on-ones, and we were good there. 15 was win your one-on-ones and go hurry up. Then towards the end of the year, we realized, man, Devontae's not catching the ball right now. He was in a slump. Jordy being out. We don't have the one-on-ones right now. And then 16, they went on a massive heater. That was Jordy's comeback year. So they were on a massive heater that year. 17 and 18 was win your one-on-ones, but they only really had one guy to win it with. And that was Devontae.
And then the personnel started changing.
They didn't really have – Aaron Jones was just getting here, I think, in 17, and it was like he wasn't ready to start running the ball. But they had one guy. They had Devontae. He was the only guy to win the one. If you have one guy, you can't win your one-on-ones.
Mhm.
If you have a roster of guys you can go to, you can do that as your philosophy.
Mhm.
17 and 18, they were stuck in win your one-on-ones, a little bit of YOLO ball, and they didn't have the horses for it because a lot of people aged out and left.
Yeah, and they never replaced them. 414-799-1973. You read the question, and I think a lot of people thought it was Jesse Rogers asking Craig Counsell about the guy swinging for the lake. Well, if you guys just tried to get the first down instead of the touchdown every time, it would be a lot better.
Yeah, and I think the logic
there's so much more
to it. You're right. Exactly.
There's a lot more to it, and you can dig into it and understand as to why these offenses and why they've changed. And that was a remarkable breakdown of it. I mean, like that was a 100 to 200 to then 300 level breakdown. Thank you for that. That was awesome. People on Talking Text Line, Joe and Azonia. This is one of the best segments I've ever heard on the game. That was awesome stuff. To be able to go through it and walk through base level to then get more advanced. Fantastic work, John. That's John Kuhn. I'm Billy Schmidt. Armin Sarian's right there. It's 9 to noon on the game. You guys want to see a real live NFL player roll over his former head coach, then back up on his former head coach, and then potentially OBJ on his former head coach. That all coming up when you hear Tua Tagovailoa talk about Brian Flores via the Dan Le Batard show, coming up in a matter of moments. Matt Schneidman's going to join us coming up in about 25, 30 minutes. Call it 40. We're going to push that off a little bit more. He's got to recharge. AI Matt Schneidman will join us at the top of hour 2. It's 9 to noon. Kuhn, Billy, and Armin on the game.
and gentlemen, to the 8th wonder of the world, the flow of the century. Oh, it's timeless. Ho! Thanks for coming out tonight. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. I appreciate that.
We appreciate you being here on 9 to noon. Billy Schmid, John Kuhn, Armin Sarian with you. Now, we had a couple of people reacting to, let's be honest, some disappointment that Armin hasn't fully bought in on the Kuhn chant. I mean, let's be honest.
In when I was like, I bought in when it first started, but after a while.
But here's what it is. He feels we're a family now. Me and Armin, and we've been doing this show for a long time.
I like that. Yeah,
we've been doing
point,
it for
John.
a long time.
Tell him.
Like this thing started in 2019.
No,
2020.
It was,
beginning of 2020.
Yeah, it was around COVID
the talks,
time.
The talks were 2019. 2020 is when this thing started. April 1st of 2020. So Armin feels like we're family. Armin feels like we're family, and he doesn't want to be the family in the stands doing that chant. Like I don't know if in fact, I know Grammy did it. I don't know if my wife ever did it. I guarantee you Grammy did it.
That's different. Grammy's different. Like she's always going to cape up for her boy.
Well, I guarantee you my sister did it, Armin, so why won't you?
See, now that's the question I have here, because you would think if you're family, you're a fan of John Kuhn.
Well, I am.
Right?
I am a fan, of course, of that, of John, of the team, of the station.
Can you just do it one time for me, please?
Yeah, I did this. Okay. Are we
doing
it?
Do it? What? Just
hit the
one time for me, please.
That's not how it goes.
It doesn't?
No, it starts.
I can't believe you did.
Oh, you want me to start the show up?
Well, I'd like you to do it the way we do it. If we do the open and we fire it up, Nick and Salem brought it up.
Don't get confused, everybody, when I play the open.
You guys should restart the intro, and Armin should be in a better mood. And I
don't think I'm in a bad mood.
Kind of agree with Nick.
Sometimes it feels like it.
I kind of agree with Nick.
I'm in a bad mood just because I didn't do the Kuhn. First of all, I didn't.
No, then you gatekeeped and called everybody else casuals because they would have fun and cheer on their team.
Well, I don't do the wave at games either. Should I start doing the wave? I mean,
if you want to have a good time,
well,
that is going to be a bright-eyed 4 or 5 year old. You're going to take her to Ann
I'm not going to tell her not
She's
to do
gonna
the
be
wave.
The wave, and she's like, "Daddy, why didn't you stand up?" You're going to say, "You know why, Lena? Because this is stupid." Because casuals do the wave. Because we're hitting, it's the bottom of the 7th inning. We need a run, and you, like all the others, should be sitting down watching the Milwaukee Brewers.
I don't want her to be distracted from the 2-1 count going on. And the pitcher, we're going to set up the next pitch here. I'm going to show her. Go ahead, John. Yeah.
Can we be honest? The wave is awesome.
It's awesome.
The problem is you can overdo any good thing. You can overdo any good thing.
Yes.
Like if you're up 7-2 in the 7th inning, do the damn wave.
Hit the wave.
Yes.
Okay.
And see how good you can get that thing flowing. See how good you can get that thing rolling. And then once it whips around the stadium fast and everybody's in it for about 3 times, okay, then it's done.
Yep.
Then it's done for the day.
I just would like the focus to be on the game.
If you're down in baseball,
needs some energy.
3-2. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Oh, see, I think we need to get we need to get this thing going.
Really?
We need to get this place going a little bit.
Okay, see,
wake this place up. I get your point,
maybe
though.
That does get it going.
Sure.
I'm just if you're close and you're down, maybe not.
You're using it more
if
as
you're
like the
getting
warm up the
smoked in baseball. If you're getting smoked, and it's if it was that Yankees series that I went to at the beginning of the season, other than the first
like 15
if it's that Yankees series where they scored 60 runs against us, do the damn wave then, because there's nothing else worth watching.
Yeah,
yes,
you deserve it.
You just got to.
Yeah, at that point, yes, the game situation does dictate it, so that would be different. For me, don't like the wave because I want the focus to be on the game. When people do the wave, they start focusing on the wave. The team gets distracted. They start performing differently, in my opinion.
The team
Armin, if the game sucks,
gets distracted.
You can't.
I'm convinced of it.
Why are you focused on the game when it stinks?
The wave shows nothing but ego and hubris of their own fans wanting it to be about them. Well, look at us do the wave, and
it's not about them.
It's about players in the field.
It's about togetherness. That is listen. It takes teamwork to make the wave happen.
Yeah.
Let's do it again.
You think that's an individual thing?
Let's do it.
You think that's an I? There is more we in the wave than there is I.
Yes. In terms of working together to do the wave, yes. It's more also just following everybody else, right? But if we want to talk about,
you've changed this from being about self-centered individuals.
That's what it is.
To being, distractions. You've changed this.
Can't stand the
all
wave
over the place. Why you don't like
if we want to do something together and work together for the game. Let's do a Let's Go Brewers, something like that.
That doesn't distract the players?
No. When it's obvious, the players know we're cheering for them and exhorting them and supporting them and saying, let's go Brewers. We're focused on you, cheering for you. When we do the wave, everybody's watching something else. You don't go to a
Let me get
concert.
this straight.
Or you don't go
Chants are good. Chants are good. Wave is bad.
It's about the game. It's about the
Which
game.
is
We're
more
focusing on
distracting on the field, John?
Chants are good.
Well, you can't compare football.
The wave never affected me.
Well, football's
Not one
different.
time.
Football's different
Well, for
because
some reason, it got Aaron Rodgers dizzy and he hated
Yeah, he would get pissed.
Aaron didn't
He
like
would
it.
get pissed.
Well, there you
So
go.
the stuff moving in his peripheral somehow got him lightheaded and dizzy, and he didn't like it.
And
He
Aaron
didn't
knew
like
people
the wave.
were not focused on what his craft, right?
And that's
I
interesting
did
because
not-
you take a lot
I
of things to get
I did not
lightheaded.
mind the wave one bit. I didn't mind a thing the
Yeah.
fans did ever.
It's because you're
Never
fun.
affected me.
Yeah, because you're a fun guy.
Well,
It makes sense.
I also think the
You gotta have a
position
little bit of energy and excitement.
the position has different things. I mean, you were focused on different things maybe than Aaron was in terms of his peripheral. You were more into the line and all those things, right, John? I think that's probably part of it. I think that's I don't know. I shouldn't say that. Maybe I don't know.
You just keep
but
digging this hole. I mean, it's fantastic.
I don't care. I don't like the wave.
I can't believe it.
Now, if my daughter wants to
understandable.
do the wave one day because she thinks it's fun, I will do the wave with her. I'm not going to take that joy away from her as a young fan, but I'm just going to let her know there's a lot of things in the field we can be
What do
having
you
fun
think about
watching
fans
too.
that sit in sweet boxes?
Oh, I have no problem with people that
Oh,
get
you-
nice seats. I mean, I'm not going to complain about that. If they,
What about the ones that have the sweet boxes and don't cheer a lot? They just kind of go there for the
for
hanky, swanky-
socializing,
Yeah.
Armin
I mean-
hates the collared shirt fans at Bucks games. And Brewers
it might
games.
make me roll my eyes,
Despises
but I
them.
understand they are also like they have an important function. Like they need to sell those seats, and there's people need to seen and be seen, and that money needs to be spent. I guess.
We got business meetings. We got to be able to
Right.
close deals. Come on now.
I don't have. I just
It's all right.
that time I sat real close in that Bucks game, it felt a little weird at some points because I mean I'm not a business guy or whatever it is, and like I'm cheering like a madman in the fifth row, and I'm like,
Yeah,
boy,
you were going ham sandwich.
I might
That
have
was
the
fantastic.
director of some sort of foundation behind me that's like, will you stop like doing this?
Yeah, but then you see Dr. Dave on the other side,
Right,
waving
so
the fans on.
I know I got
his
Dr.
green hair. You got to be celebrating.
I know the Grubers and
You gotta be
the
in.
the Daves of the world would support me in that, so it makes me feel good about
Russ
that.
from Nicolay Lawmore. I mean, like he probably is a better fan. Probably cheers
Yeah,
on even more
he's
than ever. I mean,
much better,
he,
no doubt.
he does the coon chant.
Right. Oh, I'm sure he does. I'm
He
sure
does the
he
coon
invented
chant.
the coon chant. He probably is going to have it, on one of his billboards, Well, no, I'm just saying, coon.
Well, as we were getting into the family going to the game and everything, I was going to get to the Simone Biles thing, but that
Should we go after the break?
I think we're going to have to because the elongated maneuvering through and meandering through that woods of the wave. But John landed on maybe my favorite motivational statement out of that entire segment. There's no wave without we. This is a communal deal.
It is
And
a
that's
family
true.
deal. Yeah.
There's more
Armin made
we
it
in
out-
wave than I. It's about
Armin
us.
made it out that people that do the wave are, all about themselves, and then he quickly turned it to, these people are all about,
All about themselves.
doing this thing to get. It's
Yeah.
what are we talking about here? The wave is awesome, and to think about getting
The wave
80,000 to get 80,000 people on the same page,
Unbelievable.
that's an accomplishment.
Football waves are actually cooler than baseball
Unbelievable.
stadium
How
waves.
often do people agree nowadays? How often do you get 80,000 people to agree to do
Never.
anything? You can get 80,000 people to agree to stand up every 20 to 30 seconds in unison and then sit right back down.
Well, yeah,
that's pretty impressive.
That is impressive.
It might be impressive, but I don't like it. I don't like it when the wave starts.
Dan in Greenfield.
You
I'm
are
with Armin. The
stubborn.
wave is lame.
Everyone's watching the wave. Watch the game.
Matt in Milwaukee, Armin should be banned from going to any games for the rest of his
No,
life.
I should be welcomed. I should be welcomed. I shouldn't be banned. You want to ban me? No, I should be welcome. Thank you, Armin. They should be holding up signs for me, like
For all of your fan
Stalin in communist
gatekeeping,
Russia.
for
They should
all
be
of your
holding up
fan,
signs at me.
for all of your fan gatekeeping, I actually feel like, you're a fan that would probably be hard to be around at a game. For all the
Oh,
gatekeeping,
yes.
you do
Depends
for
on
fans,
depends on the way you are, or the way the other person would be. I mean, if they like what I'm doing, they're probably like, I like being next to this guy because he's into it right now.
Or it's a little too hectic.
You think I'd be annoying in the section, John? Is
Mark
that-
said, "Damn it, Billy! You make me feel like a horrible father. I won't let my kids do the wave either."
That's good
so
good
he actually
parenting.
is that dad.
That's good
You
parenting.
sit down and watch this game.
He's got
could you
more
imagine
stones than
sitting
me.
beside Armin? Come on, why are you guys not cheering? And then you do the wave. Come on, why are you doing the wave? Don't do the wave. You just yelled at me to do something. No, you can't do that. You got to cheer the way that I cheer.
I know.
That is
I
awesome.
understand that does sound that way a little bit. I get that.
Only a little bit. Only a little bit. Nick and Grafton. Armin screaming, "I'm not in a bad mood," really shows just how much of a bad mood you might be in. 414-799-1973. Hey, we're going to cheer you up. Matt Schneiderman's going to be here in 20 minutes.
Can't wait.
You got Glazers in the
got my
studio.
Glazers. I got
You
Glazers.
can't be upset
I'm
when
in a great
Glazers are
mood.
in the studio.
I'm in a great mood.
It's 9 to noon on the game.
Hardcover King James, only been saving dust on the nightstand.
Hey, guys. The best part of the year is almost back. It is almost football season in the regular season. And that means it's time to get back on that FanDuel or on the Underdog app, because you can get to the Underdog Fantasy app and you can win real money any single day by just picking higher or lower on a player's stats. Join in the fun on the Underdog Fantasy app and you can win 325 times your money in a single night. I love the Underdog Fantasy app. It's my favorite way to play. It's my favorite way to get the entire family in. Actually, my brothers-in-law were the ones that first showed me the Underdog app last football season. Enjoyed and played all year long. Can't wait to get back to it this year. Making picks on Underdog is super easy, and it's even easier to get started. Go to their mobile app or go to UnderdogFantasy.com if you want to use your computer and sign up with promo code Billy, B-I-L-L-Y. Underdog will give you a highly discounted pick to use on your first pick'em entry, plus a deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash. You heard me right. It's Underdog Fantasy, promo code Billy, to claim your new customer offer of a gimme first pick and your deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash on Underdog Fantasy. Must be 18 plus and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Ho. Ho. You are not ready. Unstoppable dynasty. Young Hova.
I'm a hustler, baby.
Ho.
I just want you to know.
Ho. Let you know.
It ain't where I've been.
As we normally do on this 9 to noon radio program, we have lit up this NicolaLaw.com talk and text line. A couple of the absolute favorite ones. Makes sense. Very interesting. This guy that jumps up and down screaming and cheering in front of the TV, but then wants everybody to sit in the stands, just sit there and watch their team play, be quiet.
Didn't say that.
Shaking my head. Didn't
say I want you to sit and be quiet.
Sit on your hands and quiet down.
I did want them to watch you play. That part you did get right, Steve.
Can we get
jump because I'm excited about the game.
Can we get the playbook then?
Yeah.
Stand. Yeah. Stand. Don't sit.
Cheer. Do whatever you want.
Hold on.
You can sit. You can sit. You can sit. I'm not one of these guys.
Okay, so sit or stand.
Do whatever you want because there's elderly, there's younger. Some people are comfortable standing. Some people aren't.
Now here's my question for you.
Now
if you can sit, now I gotta figure out how to fan in the book of Armin's Heart.
Yep.
Sit or stand. What happens since you say sit or stand? What happens if the person in front wants to stand? Because you say sit or stand.
Well,
if they want to stand, but the people in the second row want to sit, because you say sit or stand. So you're saying you can sit and you can stand. So what happens when the standers are in front of the sitters?
Now that's a tough situation. This standing and sitting thing has been a big controversial issue. I know, especially at Lambeau Field.
So what's your statement?
Some people want people to stand and sit. I personally think you should be able to stand if you want, but if you know someone behind you isn't going to stand and can't, you should try and be respectful of them. That's just my opinion. But I know if the person in front of you stands, you have a free reign because you say, I can't help it. I have to watch. They're standing. I have to watch. I think that you can make that judgment for yourself. And to me, that's a separate issue and a separate debate that we have to kind of a separate pool to jump in, because I'm talking about the wave.
So now I'm
focusing on the product on the field.
But I'm asking you specifically, Armin, if you're in the front row and people in the second row will not stand up, will you not stand up?
Well, I think if you're in the front row, you have a right to stand, but I think you should realize you have an unobstructed view in the front row. You really do. You're lucky to have an unobstructed view. You should be somewhat.
I feel like I sit.
You're not answering the question. You are not answering the question.
I'm not
at all. You have a right to stand, but you also need to realize.
You have a right
give
to
me an answer. Are you standing or are you sitting because the people behind you are sitting?
I personally sit until the others around me stand on their own. Then I feel okay standing because I don't want to upset them.
Okay, so
but
that goes against your rules. That goes against your rules.
If it was just me, I'm not sitting. How can anybody that actually is into this game be sitting down while they're watching the game? There, I said it. How can you be sitting down while you're watching the game? There's too much going on, too much intensity. I'm pacing around. Okay, I can't be sitting down watching. I have to be standing and pacing around. That's just me. But I'm not trying to upset or disrespect anyone behind me.
Let me paraphrase for Armin now. This is the way you should fan.
I'm on the edge of my seat, frankly, if I'm sitting.
You want to stand. But you don't stand. You actually sit because you're respectful for others. When others stand, then you can stand.
Correct.
That completely goes against his rule of stand or sit.
Yeah.
Now his role is actually stating, based off of what he actually does.
I'm saying what I do.
You must sit. You must sit until everybody else stands, and then you stand. The problem with that notion is who's going to be the first stander?
I know.
Who's going to break the rule and be the first one to stand so that everybody else can break that seal of sitting because they're tired of it and they want to stand?
You're correct. It's not a logical thing. That's why it's a tough debate.
Even better, John, just go through and try summarizing what you just summarized of Armin Sarian's take. He explained doing the wave.
He pretty much did.
He explained doing
when
the wave.
People stand
I will stand
when
everyone stands around me, but then when everyone sits, I'm sitting down because I want everybody to be able to enjoy the game.
He literally does the wave without even knowing. He doesn't even know he's doing the wave.
I'm listening to it and I'm like, hold on. This sounds a lot like the wave in the 7th inning.
You think you're going to get me on that? I'm not that stupid. No, the wave is something totally different. The wave is an action they're making during the game to that's distracting from the game. That's totally different. Nice one, Billy. That's
Golden
funny.
rule, Rancourt,
Stand
stand only during big plays or the last seconds of a super close game. No exceptions.
Now, if you're in a student section at a college game, you have to be standing. There's no sitting in There's no sitting in the student section. Yeah. You have to be standing. Now, that's
I'm sorry, Bucks game, every time there's a 3-pointer, I'm standing up.
Yeah,
because I'm getting ready to go
up in the air.
Splat. Yeah,
Yep.
every time they shoot at 3, I'm standing up.
You know, and I'll be honest with you, if you had a video, if I watched a video of me during a game watching, I probably don't realize all the times I am getting up and cheering and sitting down and going crazy. So I'll admit, I don't know if I follow my own
You're
rules.
a good aisle sitter.
I got to be in the aisle. You know about me.
And as somebody that almost exclusively sits in the aisle, John, I give Armin the aisle because I know I already am going to have ample leg room sitting next to him because he's a little slender cat. Also, he's going to be up in the aisle, running up and down the aisle for a majority of the time. So I basically have an aisle seat, and I don't get nudged into eating my nacho helmet because Armin's the one running back and forth.
And there are times I get frustrated when I feel the situation's big enough and I don't feel the crowd is
and you don't feel
responding.
everybody energetic.
Listen,
come on.
now listen. Now you're getting there. You're getting somewhere. Armin.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
There you go. You're getting to my next point. So we know the sitting and standing procedures based off of the Armandsarian rule book to fanning.
Okay.
Now, how about cheering? When do you cheer?
Well, always. What do you mean? When do you cheer?
No,
You're
you
cheering
always cheer.
You're cheering for your team. I mean,
what if your team does several bad plays in a row? Can you let them know about it?
oh, I don't ever condone booing in my administration.
Now, hold on. Now,
I don't ever condone booing.
You said cheer. You said you cheer all the time. You cheer all the time. Well, what if your team doesn't give you a reason to cheer?
Oh, he's still letting it
well,
go.
no, then you're silent. I'm not cheering for bad plays.
Okay, so dead silent. So how did he get the emotion in the building?
Well,
who starts the emotion?
You start. Okay, the next play starting. You exhort them. Clap. Let's go. Come on. Let's fire it up. You know, stuff like that. I'm not gonna cheer for like incomplete. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. Obviously, right?
Come on, you're right there, baby. Come on.
But I don't believe
a little bit better ball. We got a good chance.
If you're gonna ask what I think you're asking about booing, I don't do that. I don't boo unless you can prove to me.
What if they say, "Come on, get your out of your"?
Well, what if at Lambeau Field they're showing me quiet offense at work? You know, then I'm going to be respectful to that.
I'm going to be honest. That one does aggravate me.
You don't
as
like
a fan.
that one?
I never have liked that. I might cheer if I damn well please. Come on, let's go. Come on, fellas, let's go. We need it.
It depends on the sport.
500 feet away. You're not hearing me. It should be okay.
It depends on the sport. You have people that want to cheer more during golf.
On, let's
right?
go.
And you don't cheer during golf, right?
Well, unless you're watching Live.
Unless you're at the Waste Management or the Live.
Or at Live. I watched a little bit of Live this weekend. John, it's a tough watch. Their production value is brutal. Like, I don't know if it's just me as a broadcast nerd.
It's all it's just the graphics. They're working with the Nintendo system when everybody else has PlayStation 5. That's the deal.
Everyone, and you got Dreamcast?
Have they ever heard of a 4K camera?
I like Dreamcast.
Nobody
the first. The Dreamcast was the first controller with the triggers.
Yes.
I like Dreamcast.
No, but nobody had Dreamcast, but it was not actually that bad. A buddy of mine in college had Dreamcast. We played it.
Damn, he was cool.
Sega Dreamcast, yeah.
Sorry, you think Matt Schneidman did?
Sorry to distract you.
You think Matt Schneidman had one? A Dreamcast?
He was created by Dreamcast.
I don't know. Up in Connecticut there?
Probably was created by one. Matt Schneidman, we'll plug him in next and join in the conversation right after this 9 to noon on the game.
Stand up! Stand up! Stand up! Stand up! When I move, you move. Just like that. When I move, you move. Just
Billboard, baby, do a leap and make them dance when they come on. Everybody looking for a dance floor to run on.
If you wanna run away with me, I know a galaxy and I can take you for a ride. I had a premonition that we fell into a rhythm where the music don't stop for life. Glitter in the sky, glitter in my eyes, shining just the way I like. If you're feeling like you need a little bit of company, you met me at the perfect time. You want me, I want you, baby. My sugar boo, I'm levitating. The Milky Way, we're renegading. Yeah, yeah.
Commercial Break podcast was just buzzing when Paul Wagner stops into the studio to say what up before a quick interview. That is always an electric factory when Wags stops into the studio. One of our favorite reasons to have Wags on the air. It's 9 to noon statewide on the game. I'm Billy Schmidt. Armin Sarian's here inside the iHeart Megaplex. John Kuhn, our two-time Super Bowl champion, hanging out with now our returning champion in a beautiful, this looks like a nice gaming chair that my man Matt Schneidman has in a beautiful new home in Green Bay, Wisconsin, joining us on the program going forward. Matt, good to hear from you again. Good to see you again, man. Not eating cold pizza.
What am I a returning champion in?
9 to noon.
Hot
Okay.
takes.
Returning champion of
Look
AI
at that
delivered
haircut,
takes.
too.
Winning
You
bets.
look sweet.
I did get a
dude.
haircut.
Yeah, nice.
That's a tight fade.
I know it's not, but that shirt looks dangerously close to a Viking shirt, but it's not. Just the angle, the purple and gold. I know it's not, though. So okay,
No,
good.
it's my
Yeah.
men's league soccer team shirt.
Congrats on
The
that.
FC Wine Mixers.
I like that. It's a funny name.
Are we a goalie or are we a midfielder?
No, we play 7-on-7 indoor in De Pere, so we don't really have positions. But no, I'm not a goalie.
Indoor soccer's electric. You know, it's a totally different game.
Dude, indoor flag was a wild change for me. That was something that was
What nights do
very
you
scary.
play?
During the fall and the spring, we play Wednesday nights.
Why you didn't
I was going to say, John, that sounds like something that might be worth going
John's
and checking
like,
out once.
where's
Yeah,
my
I'm-
invite?
I go check it out, or I could go
Play.
get a run in. Yeah, check. See what's going on. Out there.
Ooh, okay, you're playing a little footy, John. You
Who do you got in that? Is Domofsky in that? Do you got Bill Huber in that? Is it all everybody
Great
from the
questions.
beat? You got the whole
Media
beat rolling?
Nobody,
Wildy? What's Wildy
from
play?
nobody from the beat.
Okay.
Man, media.
okay.
You should
All
get a
right.
media league started up.
that would be awesome.
The media
That would
softball
work.
league in Milwaukee was the best thing going for a while.
Yeah, you still tell stories about them. They haven't played in 15 years.
Oh, so fun.
It's pretty awesome stuff.
So fun.
That shows how much fun it was.
We'll get to that in a
Yeah.
second because I'm excited about that one. But Matt, the preseason game the other night, Sunday night, I think there's one thing we learned for sure is the Broncos starters are better than the Packers backups, right? We know that one. But where do we go from that? What other things firmed themselves up to you within that ballgame?
Yeah, I think, I didn't realize this upon first watch, and Bill Huber kind of brought it up to me on my show yesterday. Andre Dillard's had a fairly solid first two preseason games, at least by Pro Football Focus standards. He's allowed no pressures in 29 snaps, pass blocking snaps, I should say. PFF has him rated as the Packers' best pass blocker both games, and Bill brought up a good point, how Andre Dillard played a lot less than some of the other guys did, so maybe he's already got a spot locked up. That might be one takeaway. Now, again, I'm not going to call him the swing tackle because I think the guy who will play tackle if Rasheed Walker or Zach Tom go down is Elton Jenkins, and they'll just kick him out and then have Sean Ryan come off the bench and play left guard. But other than that, we didn't get much clarity on the backup quarterback position because of the offense struggling. We didn't get any real sample size for the kickers. Greg Joseph obviously missed his one. I got a question in my mailbag for this week, John, and I think you talked about it on the broadcast, is you can't really evaluate anything from a team-wide perspective. This tape is good for evaluating individuals. Did Emmanuel Wilson do his job on that play? Did Royce Newman do his job on that play? But you can't come out of that game and say, okay, the Packers as a whole are blank for 2024 just because of how unrealistic the scenario that those guys were put in is.
Can you go back to that swing? Sorry, John, go ahead.
So I would somewhat agree with you, and I'll get into what you can take out of it team-wise here in a moment. But Billy, I'm right there with you. I heard the swing tackle thing. And if you say Elgton Jenkins, if one of these guys go down, is going to be the tackle, then why keep a swing tackle? Keep interior guys. If you feel more solid with interior guys, just keep interior guys. I don't see the point in keeping a guy like Dillard for a swing tackle if he's not going to be the first guy in when a tackle goes down. Now, I will preface this by, I did talk with Adam Stenovich this weekend, and he did say about when you have a guy that's a swing tackle, you're looking for a guy who is the most reliable, right? And it's not necessarily all about the run game. It's not necessarily all about the pass game, because you can protect him if need be. If you need to protect him for a game or two, you can protect him in blocking schemes. And for tackle, a lot of times you will forget the guy who's doing the best job, because the only way you really ever see the tackles is if they're mowing a guy down and running him into the dirt, or if he gets beat for a sack. That's the only way you recognize tackles. So a lot of times the guys that you don't ever think about, you don't ever see, they never mention his name, those are actually the guys who are doing the best.
Yeah, and I think to your point of why keep Andre Dillard or whoever else if they're not going to be the first one off the bench, well, you still need tackle depth. And let's say there's a scenario where later in the season, maybe they don't want to move Elgton Jenkins from left guard. I think that might be their first instinct, but let's say a couple weeks pass and they're not comfortable with just bringing Sean Rhyan off the bench to left guard. And Sean Rhyan doesn't play well in his first go at left guard when he has to fill in. This is all assuming Jordan Morgan, returns to team drills, I would assume this week, and has enough ramp up before week one. We don't know because practice is later today, so we don't know if guys like Marshawn Lloyd, Edgerrin Cooper, Jordan Morgan are going to be doing it. Well, Jordan Morgan's going to be practicing. I just don't know if he'll be doing 11 on 11. But let's say they're not comfortable bringing Sean Rhyan in and they want to bring Andre Dillard or Kadeem Telford off the bench to play left or right tackle. Then maybe they do keep an extra tackle, and you still need tackle depth. Right now, I think they keep 9 offensive linemen, and the bench is probably 2 interior, 2 tackles. I think right now, I had Dillard off my projection just because, he doesn't seem to be, he wasn't great to start training camp. He has rebounded nicely here. I just think, you kind of know what you're getting with him, and maybe he's more reliable now, but if he's not that first guy off the bench, maybe you take a guy like Kadeem Telford who you can develop more. And instead of having a guy like Dillard, who's probably more of a sure thing right now than Telford, you keep a guy like Telford who you can develop and groom and whatnot. And then I think just going along the rest of that depth chart, I think you have Sean Rhyan and Jacob Monk and Kadeem Telford and maybe Travis Glover. He got snaps with the 2s as well. But overall, I think the offensive line depth maybe is a little more shaky than it has been in years past, which makes it paramount that these guys stay healthy up there.
Matt, you mentioned your roster projection, and we've been having a lot of fun with it on 9 to Noon. You can find it at The Athletic, where you should subscribe, and you can find all of Matt's work and all of Matt's written word right there. Also, you can follow at Matt Schneidman. You can get links and potentially a little discount. However, Matt, when you're going here with the projection, I thought the most intriguing part was you mentioned Travis Glover gets added to this one. The number's different, right? In number 1, you had 3 quarterbacks being kept and 4 running backs. Now it's 2 and 3. What is that a change as to some information that you feel you've gotten that they want to keep, or is that just simply what you've seen and what you saw from Sunday night?
No, I never had them keeping 4 running backs. I think it's 3 regardless. Because in my first one, I had Jacobs, Dillon, and Lloyd, and then in my second one, I had Jacobs, Dillon, and Lloyd as well. But I just went from 3 quarterbacks to 2 quarterbacks. And my thinking there is Michael Pratt's not going to get claimed. Like, maybe there's a little bit more of a chance because he's a quarterback, but I haven't been doing this too long, but I've been doing it long enough to realize that every year there's a guy in the preseason who flashes, who you're like, oh, this guy's going to get claimed by another team,
Sure.
and he never does.
Never does.
The Packers haven't had a guy claimed in how long? In like since Taysom Hill, I think.
Taysom was the last one, wasn't he?
Every team has guys that show things in preseason, especially on offense. Every team. So I think they're going to keep 2 quarterbacks, even if, you know, they're not pleased with what they've seen from Clifford or Pratt as a whole. I think, remember, Jordan Love wasn't ready to be the backup his rookie year. I know Sean Clifford was the backup last year, but I don't think Pratt's ready for that. And who knows? Sean Clifford might not be your long-term backup, but I think you want to keep him to avoid, I don't know, a team like Minnesota who just lost their starter, claiming him to be their backup to just tell them Green Bay's entire offense. So, yeah, and the question at running back, I think, is how significant is Marshawn Lloyd's hamstring injury? We don't really know yet. Matt LaFleur kind of did that. He won't be practicing and didn't tell us if it was a day or a week. It's now been a week and a half. And the new rule this year that I just learned is IR. If you put a guy on IR before roster cutdown day in the past, he's out for the whole season. Now you can designate 2 guys that you put on IR before cutdown day to return at any point during the season. So that way you don't have to keep them on the 53, take up a roster spot, and then put them in IR. So maybe if Marshawn Lloyd doesn't practice here for the next week, maybe they put a guy like him or Edgerrin Cooper on IR and then use that 53 spot on someone else and then bring those rookies back when they're ready to go. So still a lot of moving parts.
A lot of moving parts. And I said yesterday, Matt, the biggest kind of bummer for me, buzzkill, as we have 1 week left here before cuts. Cuts are in exactly a week. And when we were last week, there's a lot of time and a lot of moments for us to figure things out, meaning the joint practice and the game and another week of training camp. Well, now we're rolling into this last week, and I'm to the point where I don't have the answers that I thought I might have, to questions that I had at the start of training camp. I still don't have the answers, right? Kicker, don't really know. Back end of receiver room, don't really know. I mean, do you feel any better about the questions you had on this team going into training camp right now than what you did at the beginning?
I feel pretty confident Anders Carlson is going to be the kicker. I've said all along Greg Joseph would have to blow him out to win that job, and he hasn't. So I still think Carlson, barring an absolute collapse over the next week, is still going to be the kicker. That number 6 wide receiver spot, because I think the top 5 are locked in, including Bo Melton. I started off thinking it would be Malik Heath, but Grant Dubose has kind of taken over there. And the question about Dubose, after he made some really nice catches through the first couple of weeks of camp, was, can he do the other stuff? Can he block? Can he contribute on special teams? And in the first preseason game, we saw him block so well that Matt LaFleur showed cut-ups of Dubose blocking to the team to demonstrate this is what you have to do to play here. And then on Sunday night in Denver, we saw him make an open field tackle on special teams. So that, in addition to the catches he's made, yes, he had a drop. I'll say he had 1 drop, because the second one, the 4th down, Pratt kind of just threw it as hard as he could in there and behind him.
That was a rocket ball. You know?
I think Dubose gets that 6th spot. So there has been some clarity. I think backup quarterback, I won't say I would have liked more clarity. I would have thought I would have gotten more clarity by now. It's pretty clear A.J. Dillon's going to make the team. And then the second safety spot is another one.
What tells you that on AJ?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
a lot of fans have questions.
Not healthy right now, and AJ can catch the ball and pass protect. And in the long term, he might not be as good of a runner as Lloyd or Emmanuel Wilson, but AJ is, I think, a better fit for what that number 2 running back is asked to do right now, as opposed to a hurt Marshawn Lloyd and Emmanuel Wilson.
I think there's an assumption he's going to be healthy, though, Lloyd, isn't it?
Well, but I think you're right there in the aspect of sometimes opportunity comes out of injury like that. And I think it might be out of necessity there for AJ. Like you said, they know what they're going to get. And with Marshawn Lloyd, even if he comes back this week, Andy plays well and Emmanuel Wilson plays well, I don't know if you can risk cutting A.J. Dillon here at the start of the season until you know Marshawn Lloyd's going to go a week or 2 weeks in the regular season without reoccurring injury to that hamstring.
Mhm.
I agree with you there. But for the kicker spot, it's interesting. Anders is going to get the spot unless Joseph blows him away. We know Joseph didn't blow him away. But in your opinion, did Anders Carlson earn the kicker spot?
No. Now, there's
But he's
always
the
a
incumbent.
possibility that someone who gets cut from another team is on the Packers' radar and they pick him up. And you don't need as much ramp-up time to be the kicker as you do maybe a receiver, an offensive lineman, because there's a whole lot of stuff to know. If you're a kicker, I know it's not this simple, but you just go out there and kick. So maybe I'd have to look at which teams have multiple kickers like the Packers and if they're approving guys who might get cut. But I think I don't want to say Anders has kind of just lucked into the job, but it's more Joseph didn't claim it rather than Anders won it. He's a shade above 80%. It would have been a little higher if you take out that day where it was the quote unquote tornado like wind that LaFleur said was unrealistic of what you'll see in a stadium where he missed 3 kicks. But there will be some nervous moments on that sideline the first couple times he steps up, assuming he wins the job.
Yeah, because everyone's a trip to Hollywood.
It's going to be an experience.
Yeah.
If he is the guy seeing can he rebound from the end to last season, or is it just going to be a carryover of what we saw with him missing a kick in 9 of the Packers' final 12 games? And Joseph and Carlson have both been shoddy on extra points in recent memory, not this preseason, but in past seasons. So it's going to be a whole thing, the Packers kicker situation. If Rich Bisaccia can get it figured out, then give him the key to the city, because I think people have a new appreciation for kind of the Mason Crosby consistency that they saw for a decade and a half.
Yeah, we're already giving him
Here
the
we
most
go
money
again.
out of any special teams coordinator. I don't know. We got to give him the key to the city
And
just because we can kick the ball down the middle. Like that's the one, Matt. That's the one thing. And I'm really not trying to ridicule the young man. I don't know that I've ever seen Anders kick one right down the middle. Right, like every single one of them is tucking in between either goalpost. Like that's going to be at some point. You would think it's a naive way of putting it and looking at it. But can we make it a little easier for everybody at some point, or is that just his style?
I don't think they can make it easier for you.
Oh, good Lord. And then somebody might out.
Okay, here we go again, talking about Anders Carlson like it's this wild roller coaster of nerves. He kicked 81% last year. That was Mason's career average. Like, are we just overwhelming ourselves?
Armin.
I mean, Mason didn't kick 80% for the first 4 years.
I test.
Can I pause you real quick? Can I pause you real quick?
Go ahead.
You're talking about field goal percentage.
Yes, I am. Not extra points. So I admit
He has
that.
more extra points than anyone in the NFL.
You got to put all the kicks together. Put them all. Put the extra points in there too.
Mason
What's he
kicks 10-yard extra points, though. I'm just saying there's a little bit
got?
of like
half his career he did. Half his career.
All right, I guess you're right. Well, when did the rule change? Okay, I just think like let's give him a chance. He was a rookie. I'm not as freaked out about the whole
He was
Anders
good on the
Carlson
radio
thing.
show. That's one of the reasons why you want him around.
I did like him on the air.
Yeah, he was
I
good
did.
on the radio
Listen, he was
show. That
fantastic.
makes sense.
He was
Yep.
an elect-
Yeah,
I want
it's
the
true.
Packers-
It's true.
Billy, he's a trip to Hollywood on the field and off the field.
I
Yeah,
want-
on the field. He was great on the microphone. That's for sure.
I want the Packers to have the best kicker they can. But is this thought that kickers now are supposed to be robots and machines that can produce this incredible
Don't talk about
percentage?
Schneidman's
Armin,
people
you
like that.
keep saying 81%. What did he kick on extra points?
I gotta pull up the.
Gotta be
He has
close
more
to
extra points than anyone in the NFL.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Matt.
Okay, so I admit that's a problem, but I don't think it's. I don't think it's as cause for some people make it sound like we have an absolute high schooler out there that doesn't know. I mean, it's a kicker.
No, it's not a foreign
going through
exchange
his
student
process.
coming in
All right, I'll
off
look
the
it up.
soccer
You won't
team.
look it
But
up. I'll look it up.
All right, I'll look.
while you
I'll
look
it
that
up.
up, can I ask?
look
Can
it
I
up.
ask Matt one question about one guy that I really want to see
Please.
how he makes the team? Matt, can Christian Welch make this football team anyway? Like, I know that is a super crowded room. There's a 2nd and 3rd round pick in front of him that were just drafted at that same spot. But the dude's always around the football. Andy's a Wisconsin guy, and that jawline needs to be on the team. I mean, like, is there any way that he could be a core special teamer and find a way for him to make one of those 53 spots?
Sure. I think there are 5 locks at that position if everyone is healthy. And that's Quay Walker, Isaiah McDuffie, Eric Wilson, because he's contributing on defense as well as being a core special teamer.
Big time.
Tyron Hopper and Edgerrin Cooper. I think the way Christian Welch cracks the team, because I don't see them taking 6 at that spot, is if Cooper starts the season on IR.
Okay.
Because he's been out for 3 weeks now. I'll be interested to see once we get out to practice later this afternoon if, like I said, the guys like Cooper, Marshawn Lloyd are working today. But I think the best way for Christian Welch to make the team is if Edgerrin Cooper starts the season on IR. But who knows? Maybe they take 6. If they really it would be for special teams.
Totally.
I know we look at it as 6 linebackers, not inside linebackers. They're just linebackers now. It would be as a core special teamer. And who knows? Maybe with these new kickoff rules and how valued he is on those units, he will make it.
Because Tyler Davis, guys, is no longer just a core special teamer, right? I mean, like he feels locked on the football team as well. However, a dude that seems to be kind of moving around a little bit there.
Yeah, he can get out and block on the edge for one of those Bo Melton, Jaden Reed end arounds. I don't know how much he's going to be used in the passing game, but also the numbers are less at tight end, so he has a better chance to make it. You talk about Christian Welch being around the ball. Yes, he has been, and that's been a plus from these preseason games. He hasn't really done much on either play. He's just there when Evan Williams forces the fumble there, when James Esther pops up to the Jared Stidham pass. He's not going to be used on defense. So, sure, those things are nice, but forget those. It's what can he do on special teams.
All right, guys, 87%. Did you have that, John? 34 to 39 was the extra points.
Five extra points.
So, 87% is not good enough. You got to be around league average is what, 94, 93?
But one of them was Josiah DeGuaro's, and I understand there's a bigger picture.
There's a lot of variables in here. Thank you. There are a lot of variables.
Right.
Okay. So 89.
One of them was because Josiah DeGuaro chose not to block Patrick Peterson, I believe it was, off the edge in Pittsburgh. So I don't even consider that a miss. I consider that a block kick.
All right. So that's not 89%, like you said, actually 89.7. So you round up and you go 90. Then it looks a lot different. You round
Why not
up.
just round up from 90 to 94?
Well, we're talking
Still
about
an A minus. I want an A.
So we're really talking about 2 or 3 total points. That in the grand scheme of things, are they changing lives? Now they might be in the right situation. They might
tell me
yeah,
this
in that
3
point game,
Can I say something real quick? 1 point can change not just the outcome of a game. It can change your approach during a 2-minute drive.
I agree with that. You're right about that.
Being down 6 versus being down 7, that's a different ball. Being down 5 instead of being down 4 instead of being down 3, Armin. Can you imagine that in a 2-minute drive?
Okay, there are.
You don't have to imagine it. It happened in that Pittsburgh game. They were down 4, and that's why Jordan Love had to throw against 9 guys at the goal line in Pittsburgh and get intercepted instead of go for a field goal.
I admit there's a ripple effect. You're absolutely right, and we want him to be. He's got to be better at extra points this year. I'll admit that. I just think he has the ability to be better at that point. I mean, he was a rookie, and I think he can do it.
They give him another chance.
I just wish Armin's grading scale, that would have been my teachers and professors in college.
You gotta round
it
up.
would have been a lot better if we were rounding up that easily. Couple of points amongst friends. 59, 61. Give him the 61. It'll be fine.
Well, you made a mistake on that test, but it wasn't your fault. The guy next to you wrote the wrong answer down, and you copied off of him. So,
Then not your fault.
I just think the narrative around Anders doesn't always match reality. I'm not saying he struggles sometimes. I just think everyone feels like it's always this high wire act, like Kevin in the office taking the chili bowl, nervous every time, when actually he hits a decent amount of his field goals.
Here's my thing.
The extra points got to be better.
The statistics are actually fine from his rookie year. The statistics are fine. They're just fine. But I wanted to see, this is year 2. You had an entire offseason to work on kicking approach, your kicking style, your headspace, everything that you need to work on as a kicker. And I think the camp has looked exactly like last season looked.
That's fair.
Not last year's camp. Last year's camp was scary.
We expected it to be better
better
this year.
camp than last year's camp, but it kind of looked like last season.
Okay, that's fair.
Matt, we really appreciate it, man. Enjoy practice. We'll see you coming up on Thursday for the joint practice. A little bit more excited for this one. Are we going to bring some cold pizza on Thursday?
Probably not, because I can just make breakfast at my house.
Okay.
6 eggs and spinach.
It's
right?
literally what I'm eating right now.
I knew it.
That's what I'm talking about. It's bulking season. It's football season.
I remember. He's getting that winter bulk going. Get some gains.
I mean, it's gain season. It's Match Nyman season. It's football season. We appreciate it, man. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, guys.
That's Match Nyman of The Athletic and star of the Match Nyman Show. Now, Doug Russell doesn't like when I say that because I like to think whenever Doug Russell's on a radio show, he is the star. but it's the Matt Schneidman show. So he is the star of the Matt Schneidman show. Just facts. Simple math at that point. We'll talk to Schneidman coming up on Friday as well, after that joint practice that the Packers share with the Baltimore Ravens. They're also going to share your bikes. They want you to share your bikes with the Baltimore Ravens. We'll be asking people on the NicoletLaw.com talking text line next couple of days. Would you want a Raven riding your bike? Would you wait outside the Raven door to have them ride your bike? Because shockingly, one of our gatekeeping fans doesn't really like the idea. 414-799-1973. Well, somebody maybe should have been gatekeeping on that Bears sideline this weekend when Simone Biles walked down. Yeah, we'll dive into the nugget that everybody has been sending around online and that trend. Enjoy it. It's 9 to noon on the game.
John Kuhn here for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. And how do you say welcome to your guests? Well, do you say it with the new entry door from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin? Because if you don't, you should. It's the first thing everybody who comes over will see, and you can make it memorable. How about you say it with color, too? The possibilities are endless thanks to Pella's custom colors. Pick nearly any color within the rainbow. Also say it with class. Pella's premium doors stand out due to their distinguished craftsmanship, and you get to pick and will love every detail. Finally, say it with a great deal. Get 0% interest for up to 3 years with no money down and equal payments. Now let's say it together. 0% interest, 3 years, no money down, and equal payments. But you have to hurry. This offer is only good until the end of the month. Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details. And when you do, tell Gina Della that John Kuhn sent you. Visit PellaWI.com today.
boys.
I see you looking at me. I can tell by your eyes that you're feeling me. And I really want you to get close to me. So would you dance with me? Dance with me. My drop tops in the parking lot. And I'm gonna take you back to my spot. But we still got a little more time.
9 to noon on the game.
Dance with me.
Going to talk about Simone Biles rocking the Packer jacket at Soldier Field momentarily. And the pictures that are coming out, elite digital assets. I don't know if you guys saw the latest one of the Simone Biles. We got to talk about the cat that's behind her. We got to talk about the guy behind her in that photo coming up in a minute.
Okay.
But we got some breaking news here on the program. And since we discussed tennis and have 2 tennis guys on the show, tennis's #1 player in the world, Jannik Sinner, has tested positive not once but twice for a banned anabolic steroid back in March. Was stripped of prize money and points earned at a tournament in the Indian Wells, California area, a hard court event. He will not be suspended because an independent tribal was able to tribunal.
Sorry, tribal. That's a different independent tribunal, right?
Yes.
Sorry.
Said it was not intentional.
Yeah, so apparently, guys, it was in some sort of medication or whatever it is.
The same one in the same drug that Fernando Tatis Jr. tested positive for with Major League Baseball and was suspended.
So you can be used for ophthalmological and dermatological use. So that's
tell me what
eyes.
that is.
Well, ophthalmology is eyes and dermatology is the skin, right? So whatever it is, they said it's not. It was not intentional, and it looks like he's now. Was this like truly not intentional or like a Brian Braun, I don't know. Like I didn't.
Support teams have passed along that it was a daily massages and sports therapy for Sinner.
Okay.
So apparently in Italy there is a clostebol crisis going on right now because it's in over-the-counter medications that are used in treatments and therapies, and sometimes you may not know if you are even using it. Some of these things, and this is what's in the NFL, you can walk into GNC on any given day, and accidentally buy, purchase, use, and be taking a banned substance. It might not be an anabolic steroid, but it's a banned substance within our requirements, and not even know it. There are cases, and sometimes it's not even listed on the bottle. That's the worst part, because supplements are different and get graded different than what the FDA determines them. So they don't actually have to list everything that could potentially be in that bottle when you're talking about supplements, because it's not considered a food.
And of course, athletes rely on medical professionals when they're getting treatment to not give them anything that they're not going to be testing positive for, right? So the ITIA said, right, determined a finding of no fault for negligence applied in the case, resulting in no ineligibility.
Well, and in the ruling, it says the low levels of clostebol from the tests on March 10th and 18th were, quote, a result of contamination from a support team member who had been applying an over-the-counter spray containing clostebol to their own skin to treat a small wound.
So they gave it to themselves, and it rubbed off on Jannik.
And it rubbed off on him. He's provisionally suspended because of those test results. He was successfully appealed and was allowed to keep competing on tour while the appeal was being heard. He will, however, lose $325,000 and 390 points that he had earned at that tournament in Indian Wells, California.
That's tough. You lose 300
large. Do you think he goes back to that massage therapist and he's like,
can't think so.
The blank, man.
Suing you.
What the blank?
$400,000 from you.
You owe me.
Yeah.
You owe me. You did this to me. If this is true, I listen, and I hate to be this guy.
If you weren't going to be John, I was going to be. So
I hate to be this guy, but okay. Is there a chance that a massage therapist put some stuff on themselves and then accidentally rubbed it off on somebody else, and that amount, the amount that of the residual that was left on their skin after they applied it to themselves, after absorbing into their pores and their skin cells, then also rubbed into him in an amount enough to give you a positive test for clostebol, or however the heck you say it?
Intentionally, you mean?
No, unintentional.
Well, I don't know.
Is that
he's
possible?
betting against Jannik Sinner.
Yes, it's probably possible, but it's one of these weird things, and that's where you go and I take every case of banned substances the exact same way. Well, unfortunately, that's the way the cookie crumbles. Whether to me, intentional or unintentional, it's the same thing. You have to protect yourself, because I have seen cases of guys accidentally, like I said, in the NFL, take some things that they didn't know, right? You can go in and you can buy a pre-workout drink or shake or something like that, and you can have that and they can say, well, this one works or this one doesn't, because there are certain companies that pay extra money to be what is called NSF, sports certified something or NCF sports certified, whatever,
approved,
and you can be a part of that. Those companies need to pay extra money to have an independent person come in, check all their stuff, check their processes and how they do things, and guarantee that they are on the list of, yes, you can take this supplement, you can take this supplement, this one's not on the list. So even though it might not list, even though it might not have a banned substance listed on it, you probably shouldn't take it, because
probably shouldn't risk it.
100% sure. Take it at your own risk, and sometimes it happens.
And that's tough because, as you know, some fans, he could be 100% innocent in his intention. There are some fans that always say, "Oh, you're a cheater," right? I mean,
absolutely,
they'll attach that to him. So
absolutely,
that's a tough thing. It really is. So I think the reputation is more of a concern a lot of times for these guys than the money. Obviously, the money matters a little bit too.
Yeah, the money might not be the problem. The points you know more about the scoring system for the ATP rankings and championships, but he's already the number one player in the world.
It helps him be the number one. Obviously, he's always compete with Carlos. Those two guys are viewed as the younger generation, the new generation of stars in the sports, a new generation of men's tennis. So, that's always a thing. And remember, there's always going to be people that are skeptical. Tennis is the third most bet sport in the world.
Well, especially when you're a 23-year-old who you did say, as I may or may not have broke the news during the break, said,
what did I say?
I was going to bring it up too.
I know that serve's too good.
I said I knew that serve was too good because it looks incredible when you see it.
So if the serve is too good, and then you get this news, do you believe the contamination?
I do, because of this independent board. I don't think they would try and save him. I mean, it sounds like a good explanation. I also believed the whole Dino Lorenzi deal. So I mean,
he had me hook, line, and sinker, John, when I was a kid. Oh my God!
You got to take it with a grain of salt on that.
That son of a gun just drives around in the back of his car with the test results in there.
And the next thing you know, you're at a Hooters enjoying your wings, and they ask you to test. Right.
Yeah.
So,
well, that happens.
That does happen.
Hey, I had
good wings though.
I had 13 years of obscure pee and blood tests. Never any positives, never any false positives. I'm proud of that. That's out of all my achievements, that's probably the one I'm most proud of.
That is a good one.
Damn right. You're dang right. I mean, it is a spot. I mean, they're trying to put everybody into it, and it's a fascinating part of sports. And you touched on the gambling part of it, Armin.
I mean, it's a place we go to now with thinking about conspiracy. I mean, I don't know how this would have affected, but if this guy massaging him had the money line on somebody else, I don't know. I can't imagine how that would work, because you're trying to get him suspended. I don't know, but you never know how these things.
He wanted him to win because he had a futures on him to win the tournament. He goes, listen, I'm going to rub a little bit of this stuff on him. He's going to not know. It's going to be perfect. We're going to win.
Yeah.
And I'm going to cash this bag. Makes sense. We're going to cash bag coming up in about 30 minutes from right now. When we hit a Coons Can't Miss, we will enjoy in the tears of Bears fans as they are still salty at Simone. You're really going to be salty at a gold medalist for all she's done for our country and what she potentially could do with her husband on the field for your team. Treat her a little bit better. Maybe that's why she still carries the G. It's 9 to noon on the Game.
Hey, Dirty, what? Look at that girl right there. She make me say, yeah. I like the way you do that right there. Switch your hips when you walk and let down your hair. I like the way you do that right there. Bend your lips when you talking, that make me stir. I like the way you look in them pants, say you're fine. The mama a quarter piece, she far from a dime. The type of girl that'll get you up and go make you grind. I'm thinking about snatching her up, dirty, making the mind.
Welcome back to the Iron Jock Studios. We love it in here. Now, we did have our one of our big bosses come in here and call it a cluttered mess.
I think he was kidding around, though, don't you? I gave him a glazer. We were
I don't know how to take Brett.
No, he was not kidding.
No,
he
I
might
didn't
not
think so either.
care, but he's absolutely true. It is a cluttered mess. It's a hot mess in there.
Yeah, it is. And
I think he was
better than it used to
kidding.
be.
He said, "I think he was kidding." No, Armin, do you really look around that thing and think, "No, it's not bad in here"?
Well, what do we got here? We got our coffee mug full of pens.
Yeah,
that's normal.
Whole window shelf full of papers that are crumpled up, and nobody knows what any of them are.
We'll go through the papers.
You got a filing cabinet that has snacks somewhere in a drawer there.
No, we took that out.
Oh, we took that out. Yeah, we took that one out.
We took that out. We took that out. We're doing
That's
better.
actually
So you
in
took
the
out
Love
the
Muscles
one
new
thing
office.
that actually organizes stuff,
I
the
love
filing
it.
cabinet.
I love
so
that
the one
filing
thing
cabinet.
that creates order, you got rid of. It's chaos in there.
It wasn't
Chaos,
up to
Jerry.
me. I kept all my stuff in the third drawer. I had like Andy Capp's hot fries in there and some other.
You were so dialed in on defending the station's honor that you just missed a Seinfeld line by John
He
Kuhn.
did. He missed it. Yeah.
Wow.
He's a gatekeeper today.
Wait,
He's
what
a
did you?
gatekeeper.
Wait, what did I
Armin
miss?
doesn't actually listen to a word I say.
No,
Doesn't
that's not
never
true.
Not at
listens
all.
to a
That's
word I say.
not. It's
and
not
it's
true.
fine. And it's the microphone in front of his face, so it's fine.
You know,
No,
John,
that's
it does
not
make
true.
sense
I
though,
do
because he doesn't
listen.
read any of the text that we send him either. I mean, like, you know,
I love when
we'll
when
send a
in our
link,
group
he'll send
text-
it right away after.
in our group text, we will send stuff, and you will send the exact same thing 5 minutes
So,
later. It's like,
so we've all done that. Okay, we've all done that here. I'm not the only one.
some at a much higher clip. Yeah, all kickers miss. Not all miss 5 extra points. Armin, I see why you keep up for unders now.
I'm not.
I love your show, man.
We've all done that. I'm just saying, A and B, all kickers do miss. I think Anders can make 2 or 3 more this year, and that would change his percentage.
I sure hope he doesn't miss 2 or 3 more.
B and C, I listen to what you say. Okay, I do listen to every now and then.
Okay,
Maybe I
John.
miss something, but I do listen to what you say. All right, that's all.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
What goes great with an Iron Jock workout or watching your favorite sport or drink tumbler now through September 2nd when you buy $50 or more? Not only will Iron Jock take 25% off your entire purchase, they'll get you an Iron Jock white tumbler for free. Use promo code 25tumbler. Go to ironjock.com for more details, ironjoc.com, and get that free tumbler with that purchase.
All right.
Now,
Get
I love the amount of reaction that we've gotten on the talking text line. A lot of it is when we started talking about a cream for Yannick Sinner that turned into some Ryan Braun conversation. But TK Grafton had a good one. All right, question for you guys. I've often thought about kickers, sort of like home run hitters in baseball. If a home run hitter is swinging from his heels, he's probably not going to be very consistent. He's going to have a lot of home runs, but a low average. With a kicker, do you choose to have a guy with a big leg who might fit into an accuracy department, or do you get a guy with not as much power but more accuracy? Because this sort of seems like nowadays the best kickers have both power and accuracy. Can Carlson develop his accuracy? Is that a realistic expectation, John Kuhn?
Yes, I think it is, and the answer to that is yes. Both kinds of kickers. You want both of them. You want ones that can kick it far and are accurate. And the problem is now with kickers coming out of college, there's a lot of guys that can boom the ball. There are a lot that can boom the ball. So you got to get the ones that can boom it down the middle, like you said, Billy. And it doesn't, once they go in, it doesn't matter how they get in there, but there is that factor of, if your variance from the center of the goalposts, is always there.
Thank you.
If you always are 7 yards off center, even if you're inside the goalpost, you are going to have a better chance to miss because you're always 7 yards off that center line. Getting a kicker that can get into the groove, and all it is a groove. Everybody knows what it's like to golf and hit the sweet spot of a club.
Yep.
You're like, oh, there that is.
Yeah.
Right. Good kickers hit that sweet spot. I'm going to call it 4 out of 5 times at 80%, and it goes down the middle. and then they 1 out of 5, 20%, they hit it off that sweet spot. The really good kickers can hit it off the sweet spot and still have it go in. I don't think Anders is in that spot yet where he can hit it off the sweet spot and have it go in, because when Anders is kicking them, I don't know if he's ever been in the groove where it's like 4 or 5 in a row go straight down the middle.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen like 1 or 2. I'm going off of, I love watching as much NFL as possible, right? Like we see Harrison Butker, different reasons people don't like him, making field goals and extra points, not the issue. I mean, everything is right down the middle. Justin Tucker, same deal. Like I'm talking about the best ones in the league. However, and even Graham Gano goes in and out of those slumps, John. He might have been cut a couple of times. He's in his late 30s, still kicking field goals. I see a lot more consistency right down the middle from that cat than we do from Anders Carlson. Maybe that can be more of a learned trait. But also, this is the tough part. And this is the player evaluation department going to have to be able to separate it from the two. We've seen the younger brother not be as good as the older brother. Like, I know the Daniel Carlson fear is still in the trepidation of all of a sudden he goes somewhere else and is awesome, like Daniel was. How it went for the Minnesota Vikings. Daniel Carlson might just be a better kicker than Anders Carlson. That's another part of it. 414-799-1973. All right, hour 3, best one of the day. It always features a Coons Can't Miss. We know that you can't miss on having a good time when you go to Potawatomi Sportsbook. It is an elite experience. We're there in 15 minutes. We're back after this, 9 to noon on the game. 9 to noon on the game. Glad you're hanging out with us. Hour 3 always dominates the airwaves. It's our best one yet, and it comes right now with a Coons Can't Miss in about 15 minutes from right now. We've been waiting to enjoy this one. John Coons right there, our two-time Super Bowl champion. Armin Sarian, I'm Billy Schmid. We've been waiting to enjoy and feast on this Buffalo. Tua Tagovailoa has enjoyed himself in offseason, John. Lost himself like 15 pounds. Looks good. He got himself shredded up. More importantly, he got himself a couple $100 million. That also makes your morale a little bit better, improves morale around the locker room and around the house. And Tua Tagovailoa is very, very comfortable in his own skin and feeling a lot better going into year 3 with Mike McDaniel as the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. He recently joined Dan Le Batard. Now, Le Batard is extremely successful talk show host. National brand, however, Miami guy, right?
Absolute Miami guy.
He is an absolute Miami guy, huge Fins fan, big Miami Heat fan, started doing local radio there, took it to the national airwaves, and has done very, very well for himself. He sits down with Tua as Tua's on the couch with a couple of Le Batard's guys, one of which was wearing too short of shorts and may or may not have wanted to lock them things up. Hey, buddy.
It's Miami. It's
Miami. But we don't need all that room if we're going to wear them short shorts. Because
did you see the pictures of Armin in Miami?
Yeah. Luckily, the adorable Armenian was not he's always generally closed up.
Camera.
Closed up a little
You're
bit.
saying
More.
7-inch, not 5-inch, right? Short length. So
well,
short.
I'm saying is when you realize how short your shorts are, then you need to realize and think about leg position.
You do.
You need to think about leg position a little bit more.
Yeah, when you start
closely.
wearing skirts, you got to cross your legs.
That's
I don't
kind of the problem.
I wear Iron Jock underwear, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. My man was not.
Oh, you wear handlebar shorts. Is that what you're saying?
It protects.
Gotcha. Understand now.
So out of the uncomfortable visual, there was a very, very interesting quote. And this one came from Tua Tagovailoa about the conversations that he would have with Brian Flores, the comfortability that he has now with Mike McDaniel, and how much different it is playing for Mike McDaniel than it was Brian Flores as the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. Training that out of some of us, waking up telling you suck, you don't deserve to be here, you shouldn't be here. John, you were in the NFL for over a decade. You have had all sorts of coaches. There's more than one way to skin a cat, they like to say, in the coaching department. What are your thoughts on Tua backing up, driving over, backing up on his former coach?
Well, some people might say, well, he was kind of vague there. No, he actually said a terrible person.
He did say that.
A terrible person. Awesome. He had complete, and this is going to completely destroy the argument that Brian Flores has that he was a liked coach in Miami.
Oh God,
and that there was some sort of shenanigans going on there during his removal and dismissal. That's going to.
His lawyers don't like this.
This is going to be used as Article A
my God.
right there. I do agree that there is a many different varieties of coaching in professional sports and all of sports.
A lot of
Professional
styles.
college,
Mhm.
In fact, college. Okay, so the
High
biggest thing
school
about
ranks.
college right now, yes, high school, but the biggest thing about college right now, and I've talked with NFL scouts about this, the biggest problem with college right now is not the NIL, it's the transfer portal. And it's because college or professional scouts cannot get a real feel or grasp on a player that transfers multiple times because coaches can't coach in college the way that they necessarily want to. They can't
Mhm.
coach in college the way that they need to. It used to be you get a kid in there, he signs a scholarship, he comes into that school, you break him down, and then you build them up. But you always break them down first. You got to break these freshmen down before you build them back up, and that was the way to do it. And to some effect, Tua has gotten the best of both worlds. What it sounds like is he's got one of the best guys to ever break down a player, break him down.
Yeah.
And then he's got, and Brian Flores, it sounds like, only knows how to break players down, not build them back up. But he got the best breaker downer to break them down. And then on the flip side, he's got Mike McDaniel there, one of the most incredible builder-uppers in the world. So he got broken down and built back up by the greatest breaker downer and the greatest builder-upper. It just happened to be two different coaches.
The greatest two extremes.
And now he's flourishing from this because a coach that would generally take you, break you down before they build you back up. Oh, you got broke down by one guy. You got built up by another. And it feels great the way that this whole thing is going. And I just think Brian Flores, man, did you have the opportunity to build him back up and you missed that opportunity? Or do you only know how to break down? And Mike McDaniel, one question will be about his team. His team's going forward. Are they tough enough, right? Because as he's building them up, it looks great. He's building them up. Last year going into Kansas City in that cold game, it looked like the tougher team was Kansas City.
Yep.
It did not look like the Dolphins had that toughness. Now they had some injuries. We know that. But that's going to be something that they're going to have to get rid of in Miami. Are we tough enough kind of aura that surrounds that team?
Yeah, and that directly goes to January football. Can you go somewhere and win? Are you tough enough to be able to go do that in those moments? Because the last 2 years now, they're going to get a large pass from 2 years ago when they went to Buffalo on that road game, and they played actually a really, really close game with Skylar Thompson at quarterback. But John, it's the same thing. And I think this part is unique with Mike, where we got a chance to watch a lot of him operate during a season with the Hard Knocks in season. Now, again, it is a very edited version of what he ends up being, but you could try to see how he can push and still be able to do a little bit of the breaking down while being the ultimate optimist, the ultimate brother in the locker room kind of coach and friend relationship that he seems to want to go for. But I am interested to see, and Tua went from, he was coached by Nick Saban, right? So like, it's not like he had never been told, hey brother, this is not it. What you're doing right here, can't have it. He also watched Jalen Hurts do it from a different way Jalen got broke down in a totally different fashion when he gets benched in the national championship game and then still ends up in a Super Bowl. So I think there's a lot there. Tua's lived a long football life in the public eye for a young cat.
He really has.
He's an absolutely phenomenal story. I remember his freshman year at Alabama. I think that was 2016. Was it not, Billy?
2016 national championship
because
game. Yeah.
I was down in New Orleans at the time, and I can, anybody talks about in the NFL is their college team. I never did, because what am I going to say about Shippensburg?
Sure.
In fact, half the time I didn't know what the record was. But all anybody else talks about is what their teams are doing. And Mark Ingram, did he love taking people's money and having side wagers on who Alabama was playing that week? And sometimes I'd take him up, have him give me some points, and run him through the ringer that way. But you always talk about your teams. And Mark was telling me from day one, this freshman that we have in Alabama, the hype is real, the hype is there, and this guy's unbelievable. And I'm like, but Hurts is good.
Hurts 2018, good, pardon me. I apologize. 2018.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Jalen Hurts is good. He's good. But we got this freshman, and he's going to be absolutely unbelievable. Just wait until you see this kid and blah, blah, blah. And boy, I'll tell you what, he turned into something, and he proved his worth his freshman year to go into that game like that and come away with the win. So pretty impressive career, and you talk about the injury that he had and the lows of that, and then being able to come back from that and have the season that he did last year to earn his second contract. I mean, Tua's been through some learning curves. He's been through some serious life lessons on the world of football, to a point where he's saying, so when he says to me, this terrible person, and I mean, I just can't help but think that Brian Flores, he was trying to beat him down, but he never built him back up the way that he needed to be built back up. And you do sometimes, you do need to coach constructively.
Yeah.
You do need to do that to every player in order to hold him accountable. But just like Flores broke him down, Mike McDaniels was there to build him up immediately, and he's flourished with that.
But I think it's also nuanced, because I think there's a lot to this. I think the key is also you got to let your guy know that you still care about them. And it seems like Tua, it wasn't that he couldn't coaching,
feel that,
but I'm sure he understood Saban is doing what he could to do what's best for him. We hear McDaniel on the mic'd up make little jokes about him all the time. Boy, Tua, that wasn't a good throw, was it? But he's saying in a way where obviously he feels that McDaniel believes in him more, loves him more, or cares about him more, and maybe he didn't feel from Flores. And I think you have to know as a coach that different guys are going to flourish on different coaching styles. Some guys will not take the negative and flourish from the negative teaching as much as the positive empowerment teaching. And I understand there's going to be some people with that instinct of toughen up buttercup type of thing, but you have to recognize that not everyone respond the same way. Even coaches that we consider through the narratives of history being the toughest type of coaches, like the Lombardis of the world, did not coach all their guys the same way. That they knew that, Willie Davis talked about, Lombardi realized that if I was going to play worse if he got on me and yelled at me a lot or whatever it was, and just it wasn't his style for him. Or Bart one time said, "Do not ever chew me out in front of the team like that ever again." And Vince never did it again.
Yeah, I can't lead this team. So if you're going to do that,
there's things like that where different guys are coached different ways, I think, and good coaches recognize what makes certain guys tick. It's not that you can't ever be tough on somebody or can't hold it to them. And Billy, it's different at certain levels. You coach high school. You coach high school. So the way you're going to coach a high schooler is probably a lot different than the way you coach an NFL player, right? That's got $250 million.
Totally. But it also, and this is where, I'm not trying to fully defend Brian Flores. I think he's a really good football coach, right? Like I think his defense that you watched in Minnesota, now they had a load of injuries last year and were talent-wise probably a lower defeat. I thought he was one of the best additions that a team made in the NFC North last year, was bringing in his style of defense and being an aggressive cat. But John, I think we see this a lot with coaches that come from New England, and you hear Tom Brady talk about it ad nauseum. I mean, people talk about it all the time. Bill Belichick let Tom Brady have it. It was how it was going to be. He was going to coach Tom hard like all the other players and try to set that precedent. There always seems to be coaches leave there, maybe not trying to fully be Bill Belichick, but they're working and trying to work it in that vein, trying to be that similar style where I can hold this guy accountable, then everybody else is going to know that we're coaching that way. It's difficult, though. You can say we want to coach everybody and hold everybody to the same standard, but the first thing in coaching is realizing you can't coach everybody the exact same way.
Generations the same way. Coaches need to evolve. Coaches need to adapt. But I do think the general process of breaking them down and building them up foundationally at each and every level is important, because players in high school are different, and when you break them down in high school, you break them down differently than when you break them down in college. And, and same going from college to the NFL. But you got to break them down so that you can start building them back up in the way that they need to be built there. It sounds like Brian Flores did not have that ability to build Tua at a time when he really needed him to grow, right, in his first couple of years. So he needed him to grow quickly. And to Mike McDaniel's kind of credit or sheer luck that he walked into a situation where all he needed to do was show confidence in the kid, and he was going to flourish and he was going to grow because he had already been through those tough moments. I mean, that's what I find kind of fascinating by this is is Tua got what he needed, but he got it at the expense of Flores and kind of the benefit of Mike McDaniel.
Well, the results have been better under Mike McDaniel. I mean, they were the 6th ranked offense, I think, in football at when under McDaniel.
He led the league in passing last year.
And they were and under Flores, they're in the 20s. So one style to me clearly worked and one didn't. Now there's obviously other factors involved, and it's
one's
not
calling the offense, one's calling the defense.
And I know, and Brady said, you accept difficult coaching and stuff like that. Maybe it would have worked for Brady. But maybe Tua's not Brady. Maybe guys are different. Guys respond to different things. Or maybe it's easier to coach Brady one way, or maybe Brady
almost
can come
like
back and say, "Oh, I got this many Super Bowls already, so I'm going to believe you." Instead of Brian Flores, who I don't know what you can do as a head coach, so I don't know if I should trust you yet.
Almost sounded like you were going to give Tom Brady a compliment.
I almost wanted to, but I didn't.
John, it almost sounded like we were going to hear a compliment of Tom Brady from Armin Sarian. Not happening, so quit asking. Instead, let's go to the sports book.
All right, let's make it happen.
The man can't miss. Time now for Coons Can't Miss, presented by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Bet big, bet bold.
Oh, yes, time for our Can't Miss, presented by Potawatomi Casino Hotel Sportsbook. You need a place to go enjoy a game. Maybe you got some kids running around the house, a little bit of a distraction for you. Maybe your wife is giving you the third degree as you're just trying to sit there and watch the 7th inning of a Brewers game. Make your way down to Potawatomi Casino Hotel Sportsbook, because guess what? We got a place for everybody to sit down and relax. Over 200 different seats and very comfortable seats at that. You'll feel like you're in your own home and at the stadium at the same time. Stadium seating gives the element of being at the game without actually having to pay game prices, and a 2,000 square foot LED screen is the best viewing experience you'll have not at the stadium. In fact, you probably see more than you will at the stadium. And as we talk about that, I got to remind you about the menu down there at the Sportsbook. Get yourself a coon dog, some wings, some beers. It doesn't really matter, all at very affordable prices.
It's a massive menu, frankly. When you scan in that Sportsbook menu, it's so big I can't remember all the things that are on there. It's massive. It's awesome.
It's like the Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah, it's really good.
You got pretty much that many options.
And you can sit and right to your seat, so it's fantastic.
Yeah, they'll serve you, Armin. They'll serve you.
Which is a good feeling.
That's another advantage. They serve you instead of you serving at home.
Yeah.
Make your way to Potawatomi Sportsbook. Okay, yesterday we took against the White Sox, the Giants, -1.5. They won 5-3. That's a cover. That's a win. We got our first win in the book for this week, and we're about winning weeks now. We're about just stacking weekly successes. 2 weeks in a row with 3-2 totals, which means good start here in week 3. And today, the Brewers, who are as hot as anybody in Major League Baseball, are catching a 1.5. Now, I understand they're away. I understand it's a division opponent. Can you guys give me the reasoning why this is a 1.5 for the Brewers here? Is it just because they're on the road?
So they always set a run line in baseball.
You have to set a run line.
So the 1.5 is there, but the odds on that change, right?
Just because you're on the road, Armin. Just because you're on the road doesn't mean you should be.
Right, but you're paying -230 to win 100. So that's why you're going to catch the number better, but you're going to pay a heftier price that way.
I thought the odds would be a little different than -230, but so to me, do you believe the Brewers will win by or lose by 1 or less? There's a pretty good chance of that against the Cardinals on the road. That's why I think that. But 230 does seem a little high to me. But what do I know? I'm not an odds maker.
Eric Fetty, though, since coming over from the White Sox, results not great for the starter for the St. Louis Cardinals here tonight. 5 runs on 5 innings in his first start as a Cardinal. 5 innings, 1 run in a win against the Rays as a Cardinal, and then against the Reds gave up 4 across 6 innings and held a fat L just a couple of days ago.
Which makes plus money on the Brewers money line, plus 107.
Both of these pitchers acquired at the deadline. Frankie Montas goes for the Brewers here today.
Well, so I'm taking them. So you guys just talked me into the money line. Forget the run line. You just talked me into the money line.
The Brewers money line makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I think over 7.5 makes a lot of sense.
Ooh, you don't like either of these starters.
If you got two pitchers that they think are shaky.
Oh,
you almost
shaky pitchers.
What did you think?
Shaky pitchers.
I didn't say that. I didn't say it. So I said shaky. That's where the
Armin, you want to go 7.5 runs? You want to go over that? Let's go over 7.5 runs.
Yeah, I think the total
over 7.5.
I think over 7.5.
Life's too short to bet the under.
Well,
4-3 Brewers win here tonight, and I'm coming in tomorrow saying this is all Armin's fault.
Now I did learn from a guy. Well, do you want to make it 7 at 148? I learned from some jerk when I lost by a half point last time and wherever I was, Bellagio, whatever. Oh, you always buy the half point. Don't you know that? Don't you know you always buy the half point? Thanks, guy. Okay, yeah, you tell me. All right, John, I do like over 7.5, to be honest with you. Is that what we're going with? This is your can't miss. It's not me.
Well, this is called can't miss. You actually can't miss this. So you guys have told me. Even though, look, It just went down from -230 to -225.
We moved the line.
Brewers run line +1.5.
All right, Brewers +1.5. We moved the line.
There it is. 414-799-1973.
But you're only getting half a win for this, John, if you win it. I'm not going to lie.
Well, what if he laid down a bigger unit?
All right, fine. 2-unit bet.
2 units.
2-unit bet.
2-unit bet.
Brewers,
2-unit bet.
All right, Brewers +1.5.
414-799-1973. We've been promising and anxiously awaiting our opportunity to discuss the Simone Biles conversation that has flared up and fired up Chicago. There's one thing that I just saw on Twitter that is really going to fire me up about ESPN, and I'm not happy about it because it means one of the guys that I don't like watching on ESPN is going to be on ESPN on my favorite day. That comes up as well. It's John Kuhn, it's Billy Schmidt, it's Armin Sarian. It's 9 to noon. Stay wide on the game. This needs to be Shabuzi. This song needs to get Shabuzi.
Yeah, but this is a while ahead.
Please.
I mean, are you telling me? Could you not hear somebody telling everybody in a country's twang up there at what is that? They've changed the name of it. X41 Country. Now, it used to be Country USA right there in Oshkosh.
Okay.
They've changed the name, but they were still firing up the concert. I saw all the trucks and the mobile homes riding on through, getting themselves ready. I think Brooks and Dunn was going to be there. That could work out in a cornfield.
He's going to have to find an interesting way because I think 3/4 of that song right there, which is a certified banger. I mean, when any song that I can think that used to play and blast on those speakers at Wibbs and Shippensburg back in the day. I mean, that's what this is. He's going to have to come up with a creative way because I think 3/4 of this song is about the beat.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, as I'm just bobbing my head to it right now. That's a good point.
You know, it's hard to believe in some ways. This song was number 1, I think. Right?
I don't know why that's hard to believe.
I don't know why either, but I knew this was a hit.
Why did you say it then?
I knew this was a hit, but I mean, it's hard to go number 1 on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100, and it seemed a little bit too niche to go all the way to number 1. But 2000,
tell people to shake their Laffy Taffy. That's a winner.
We're a different time. This was the hottest song in the world at one point. Laffy Taffy, you know.
Yeah, I'm surprised you're surprised.
Can I ask why Laffy Taffy is the term for the behind, for the rump?
I didn't.
Why Laffy Taffy?
I don't know.
If I'm picking any candy that should designate the buttocks or that lower half region, what would the candy be? It would probably not be Laffy Taffy.
Well, think about the amount of ways that it's been described, right? Cotton candy, good to go. Let me see that Tootsie Roll, right?
That's what I thought.
That would be right there in the middle of it. A Snicker.
Well, the Tootsie Roll was the dance move.
Snicker bar is another one, thicker than a Snicker.
Yeah,
that's a good one that could be described to it. It kind of depends though. I mean, because a lot of different likes, a lot of different hopes as to what that would be.
I'd probably pick a Whopper, like shake the Whopper.
Again, it's the same. I mean, it's got to have a hook to it.
It doesn't jingle, but I mean, I would probably call it to call your backside your Laffy Taffy. I mean, do you think he'd ever heard that before? Or they were just like, all right, we need to find a way to shake that. We got to shake something. What can we shake? Okay, let's shake your.
And I mean, think about all the ones that they've done.
Snickerdoodle. Shake your snickerdoodle.
Snickerdoodle.
100 grand doesn't work as well.
I don't mind that. Actually,
Heath
pretty good.
just doesn't sit as well.
Heath Bar. Shake your
Kit Kat.
No, that doesn't work either.
Three Musketeers just sounds strange. That seems like it's more of a crowd.
Shake your Mike Annex. Shake your Mike. No.
See, now that's more the guys' version.
Yeah,
that's so there's a lot to it there.
No one likes Three Musketeers anyway.
Taffy. Ooh, no Laffy Taffy.
What?
No one likes Three Musketeers. Too much nougat.
Too much like nougat. A Three Musketeers bar?
No, the only guy I knew that really loved them was our guy Spencer down here. He loves Three Musketeers.
Doug's got the little fun size ones in his office.
Yeah, they're always left.
Candy dish.
They're always left in there because nobody wants those. I'm just saying, those are the last ones you grab.
Wow, that's a hot take.
It's the last Halloween candy you grab, but yeah, I don't know.
Three Musketeers, the last. You're wrong.
Almond Joy.
You're wrong there. You're absolutely wrong.
Well, okay, Mounds
and Almond Joy.
Mounds is trash. I agree. Coconut's trash.
Candy corn is the last one you grab.
I kind of meant
that's every time.
In the candy bar wrapping. Candy corn isn't even.
See, I'm psychotic. I actually kind of like candy corn.
I actually don't mind it. I
actually kind of like it.
Yes, but it's the worst of a good thing. Candy, good. Worst of a good thing. It just because you like something doesn't make it not true that it's the worst of a good thing.
I see your point. Yeah, I see your point.
See, now no one's really ever thrown these out here. Somebody starts dropping circus peanuts into candy dishes. That's the game changer. Those little orange marshmallows.
I know all about circus
Then
peanuts.
You're sitting here saying, all right, we're never going to that house again because that is contaminating this bag.
Wait. When's the last time you had a circus peanut? Give it another shot.
Listen, I had quite a few bags of circus peanuts when I was in college when Family Dollar was only 2 blocks from the house on Cook Street. 99 cents for that big old orange bag of circus peanuts.
So you ate too many circus peanuts. That's what you're saying. You didn't like them anymore. They taste like banana. That's what
they're the worst thing in the world, but they're not chewy, but they are chewy. Right. They always feel like they're stale. I've never had a fresh one. I've never had a fresh one in my life.
Not one time.
That's the thing. Like sometimes you're like, oh, that candy sucks. And then you have a fresh one. Like Armin, you probably never had a fresh Three Musketeer. A fresh Three Musketeer is like
or a frozen one
and smooth. or a frozen one, and you're just like, bam, that thing's incredible.
I think we figured it out. I think that's it.
You just don't know how to be fast.
But the circus peanut has never. In fact, I think a circus peanut gets made and they let them get stale before they package.
Set them out for like 2 years.
Shake that circus peanut.
At the end of
peanut. Shake that.
You're at the end of the
peanut.
circus peanut, conveyor belt, and they just fall into a basket. All right, take those. We're going to store those in warehouse 5.
Yeah.
We need to age them for 6 years before we take them out of the bear. They're like wine. We need to age these things to a 100%
100%.
staleness.
Right. They always have that stale quality to them.
And then every single time you're like, I'm just going to have one more because the next one can't be as bad as that one was. Then all of a sudden half the bag's gone. Well,
Yeah, and then you find out.
never
never get
Never
better.
has there been a fresh.
I never
circus peanut.
chose, I never sought out circus peanuts, but when they were available to me, I've eaten them and I'm like, they're not that bad, but you're right. They are never fresh. And that's probably why they aren't, because they always sit on the shelf. Right. And then everyone's like, well, this is sort of like got the Twinkie quality to them. Like they can never go bad. So we'll just keep them on the shelf. Nobody knows anyway. We're not spending more money to replace circus peanuts on the shelf.
Carrie and Tosa, Billy, make a dish of candy corn and peanuts. Teresa's best. You're welcome. I don't know that I'm going to. Maybe.
Not
Shaker
circus
and
peanuts. She's not saying circus peanuts. Saying actual peanuts.
I think she's saying actual peanuts.
Yeah. Which I'm a big peanut fan. I'm a big nut guy in general.
Oh,
give me almonds.
Yep.
Give me macadamia nuts.
But
especially those Italian almonds, those like white ones. I forget they got a special name to them. They got a little bit of olive oil and salt drizzled on them. Yeah, you can fancy up the nuts now.
well, let me see if there's still a couple of bags here because Chandra Lynn of the Packers Radio Network brought in some nuts. One of her friends said, "Hey guys, I'm making nuts now," and sent just bags of nuts to all their friends, and they're all sweet and smoky and spicy. It was a situation going on Sunday night, John, and it honestly took over most of the third quarter. Was the conversation about people's bags of nuts?
Call me crazy, but I'm going to do this candy corn and the nuts thing. See, I get the big mixed nut
Got to Costco mixed nuts. It's a game
that
changer.
lasts like a month.
Mm-hmm.
And I even like those big nuts. I don't know the name of them. The big ones sometimes are even brown. They're really white.
Brazil
the
nuts?
Big ones.
No.
Are they Brazilian?
Well, big. You don't mean walnuts. You don't mean walnuts.
No. Walnuts are great. Walnuts are
Pecan. You don't mean
very
pecan,
high on the food chain when it comes to nuts.
I think they're
talking the
Brazil
big
nuts.
Brazil nuts.
I don't know for sure. I think that's what I think they are. Yeah.
Sometimes they're brown, sometimes they're white, but they're bigger.
Yeah.
Brazil nuts.
I think they are.
Damn, dude, he might be right.
Yeah. Those right.
Them things.
Oh, that's exactly what I'm
That's
talking
what you're
nuts.
talking about.
Call me crazy.
That's a Brazil nut.
Yeah, your boy.
They don't
knows.
have as much flavor as the rest of the
No,
nuts.
I never
but
ate those.
But you know what I did? I've never done it with candy corn, but I will throw like some gobstoppers or some milk duds in with the nuts.
Yeah, chocolate. Yeah, that's perfect.
Oh, yeah.
That's perfect.
Milk dud, game-changing candy. I mean, like if you're enjoying milk
I
duds,
love milk duds.
that is a game-changing move.
Underrated.
One of the first things gone in the candy.
I mean,
bin.
I like candy. I like Charleston Chew. There's a lot of candies people forget about, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I like.
100%.
Now, Larry from Union Grove called and he said, I
okay.
have a circus peanut story that I put him on hold. That's the only thing I know.
Okay, well, get it.
So
Well, let's
I
hear it, Larry.
have no idea what else he's going to say. Larry, go ahead.
So in regards to the circus peanuts,
Yes.
we bought a 55-gallon drum for bear baiting up north of Anigo.
Okay.
Okay.
Of circus
All
peanuts?
right. Of circus peanuts. Yep.
Yep, 55-gallon of circus peanuts. And on the barrel, it says, not for human consumption. So they do go old because my buddy grabbed a couple of them and ate them. And about an hour later, his stomach hurt.
You know,
So
a lot of
they
that
do
makes
go bad.
sense. Like you're up at bear hunting camp, and it says not for human
Boy,
consumption.
that bear sure do. They love that circus peanut.
So does your buddy.
Appreciate
So
it.
what'd you tell your buddy?
Yeah, so-
they told you not to do this. I mean,
Well, it says right on there, not for human consumption. So we'll just call him Jeff. Not his real name, of course.
Nice job, Jeff. Nice
Did you
job.
get a
We
bear that year?
appreciate it, man.
Did you get a
Did you
bear?
get one?
They're coming into the bait pile. Season starts Wednesday after Labor Day.
Oh, this just happened. All right, let's go.
Larry, we want a full report of that bear. We want
Good
a
luck.
picture of the bear. And most importantly,
Sounds good.
we want you to write on that bear. Just put a big G right there on his chest once you're done with it. Just a big old G right there on the chest, because that's how you carry the G, like Simone Biles there on the Bears sideline. Thanks, Larry. Appreciate it. I'm looking at this. 1,400-pound boxes. You can buy pallets of old circus peanuts.
Yeah. Well, you know why? Because they're always stale.
Because
nobody eats them.
Right, they're always old. But apparently
It's
they're good
fun.
for bears.
25 and 30-pound boxes on a pallet you can buy. This is awesome.
All right. Now we know when they come off the conveyor belt, they go into 50-gallon drums and they say, okay, take this one over to the 5-year storage. That's going to be for the bears. Take these to the 4-year storage. That's going to be the ones we sell in the stores.
$12 for a box of 20 to 25 pounds of circus peanuts. Finally, the bait every hunter has asked for. Treat your hollow stump or place in the Big Woods Bear Bait bucket along with all your other goodies.
So
great for early summer and mid-August.
Someone explain this to me. Are they just poisoning the bears?
Bob'sBearBait.com.
I think they want fermenting sugar. I don't know, but I did have a buddy whose dad was hunting bear, John.
Well, explain this to me. Why can the bears eat them when humans can't?
It's a good question. Maybe their stomachs are different, or they don't. Maybe you're right. Maybe they don't care about them getting sick as much.
I think we can get this information here on Bob'sBearBait.com.
Is
the
this
FAQ website that I'm on right now?
So now I'm thinking, is the circus peanut industry, are they made to intentionally go stale?
Yeah, I think
Right?
I think it's very clear. The circus peanut industry is all about baiting bears, and they can get a couple dumb people to buy them and eat them from time to time.
Product used to be used for animal food only. Bear bait and scents are not for human consumption. This is right there on their products use page. That's the only thing on products use.
But we don't
not for
realize.
human
We don't
consumption.
realize.
You
that,
know we're gonna eat one.
That there's actually money in circus peanuts, but it's for bear hunting. It's not for.
Damn.
Well, that's really interesting. Then we have D-Rock.
That's a way to swing your business model. Like you create something, you create a candy. I got this great candy. You guys are gonna love it. I'm calling it circus peanuts. It's stale and it tastes actually like bananas.
Bob's Bear
Okay,
Bait.
we're in. Let's do it. These things don't sell for
Right.
5 years. Okay,
Bear
now I
hunting.
got the answer. We just swing into the bear industry.
This is amazing. Yeah, we need to get Bob on the show. Bob's Bear Bait LLC, locally owned, operated out of Little Chute, Wisconsin, with stores in Appleton and Tomahawk and Phillips. Yeah, we might have to have a conversation about Bob and his bear bait. That's fascinating.
And then we get D-Rock on the NickLaw.com, NickLaw.com talking text line. Guys, I've been addicted to them Snickers ice cream bars. I ate 3 before bed last night and talk about some vivid dreams. I don't know what's going on with some of our nooners sometimes. I really don't. 3 ice cream
This
bars.
is just a
before-
great show.
Thank
dude.
you.
I love this show so much.
Have you never eaten 3 ice cream bars before bed?
I don't think I have. Maybe once.
Seriously?
3 before bed? I don't think I've had 3.
100%.
You never had any day where you just got a little bit wild and took it a
I
little bit
might
overboard.
have. I might have eaten a
What's
lot
the
of ice
most
cream.
overboard you've ever gone?
You ever eat just a full pint of Ben and Jerry's before bed?
Yes.
I probably came close to that before.
Close?
But I don't remember.
How are you putting the half baked down?
I don't think I've ever had 3 ice cream bars, but maybe like a bigger bowl or a bigger cone. I've gone multiple scoops.
You want to know what I did the other
dude.
week? Okay, so Door County ice cream up there in Door County.
Yeah.
Really good stuff.
Good ice cream.
We went up there. We always do 1 scoop in the cone because they make their homemade cones and it's really big. We always do 1 scoop. Why? Because it's a lot. Well, my daughter decided to get crazy the other week and go 2 scoops. And you know what that meant? That meant my other daughter. Can I get
Went
2
for
scoops?
2 scoops.
Well, yes, go ahead. And you know what Lindsay said? I'm going to get 2 scoops because they're getting 2 scoops. Well, let's make this a challenge and see. Guess who the only person to finish his 2 scoops was?
John Kuhn,
Me.
the fullback.
I was the only one out of the 4 to finish it. And guess what I did then?
Finished
I
all of them.
all 3 of theirs.
That's a lot of scoops. 'Cause I was gonna
It can
say,
happen.
That's my guy right there.
Let's go. I finished them.
Listen, they're not going to waste.
I'm surprised you didn't get 3. Just to show them what's up to start. Fine,
No,
give me 3.
They don't even offer 3 scoops. They don't even offer it.
Dude,
It's
we
not
need
even
to
on the
get
board.
there.
You can
We
buy
need
it.
to get
If you
there.
went, I think if you went 3 scoops, they give you a bid and a platter like they did in the Great Outdoors.
I've always
Or when you
wondered-
get the John Kuhn dog at Potawatomi, they'll give you the bib out, bust it out for you. 414-799-1970.
You know how you can really quick, you can get to 6 at Cops. It's on the menu. I've always wondered about that. I've never seen anyone get 6. It's always been on the menu up there at Cops, 6 scoops. I've always wondered about it.
Well, now that you're a man and you're 40, you should go and order 6 scoops
Getting
ice cream.
6. I get
I'm
6.
getting the 6 scoops, dang it.
I can't wait until Armin's kids start wasting food and watch him just cape up and eat it all.
Can't
Armin's
wait.
dad bod's going to be glorious. I
It's
can't
gonna be
wait for it
awesome.
to come.
Can't
It's going to
wait.
be awesome. 300-pound Armin is something that everybody's going to want to see.
Bring it on.
It's 9 to noon on the game.
Two types of people in the
heed. Yes, it's a trifling friend indeed. Oh, she's a gold digger way over town that digs on me. She give me money.
Now I ain't saying she a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke.
9 to noon on the game. What a day this has been. I mean, Nooners, give yourselves a round of applause.
Yeah, big day for the Nooners.
It's been outstanding on the NicolaLaw.com talking text line.
I think we broke a record for the most interaction within a show. I mean,
Yes.
This was fire. This was incredible. And I apologize if we didn't get back to you. There was too many to get back to.
Yeah,
you.
very active from the start. We appreciate that.
And then we get 414 that just, when we're talking about, what have you ever ended up crushing a whole night? Whole box of ho-hos.
Oh, yeah.
Heck yeah, 414. Crush
The
that box
Swiss-
of ho-hos.
The Swiss rolls, which were those chocolate things with the little cream on the inside.
Next question. Yep.
Yeah, it would take down a whole. I used to come home from school, box gone. Grammy'd be like, "Where'd the Swiss rolls go?" I said, "In the garbage can." What?
Yeah, they're
I
gone.
ate them all. Okay.
Well, did you ever know I lived right by a Hostess outlet? Did I ever tell you that story?
No.
Well, it's not much of a story, but I
You lived by the Hostess outlet.
There was
Yeah,
one.
that's the story.
There was one right on Loomis, and in the summer, me and Johnny Logan and Andy Butts and Kevin Panzarella and Mike Kumar, we'd walk there. We'd cross Loomis.
all of them.
We would walk to that thing all the time and just load up on stuff.
You know
I
what?
mean,
When
we were
he-
eating so
when-
much Hostess in the summer.
Those names that he just threw out there, I just felt like I was watching a Sandlot as he started naming. these
It
names.
was like that.
100%.
That's what
These kids,
that's what it was like, brother.
you guys were the Sandlot. You guys were at the public pool and somebody faked drowning so that they could try and kiss that lifeguard.
That's
Probably
what it
wasn't Armin.
That's what it felt like growing up in that block.
Was that Johnny Logan?
Man,
That
Was he the
Logan.
one that did it?
what was he the?
Did he pull the squints?
Squints move would have been me or Mike Kumar, to be honest with you, because we were more the dorky ones. So that Squints was like the dorky
It would
one.
have been Mark Kumar. Mike
Mike-
Kumar.
well,
I don't know that you would have had the intestinal fortitude. to be able to.
that part's true. I wouldn't have had the stones to do it. I'd have been too
Heck,
nervous.
A whole box of sweets or Twinkies or Ho-Hos. I'd sit down and eat a whole box of cereal. And I'm not talking about those little boxes
Next question,
that you
yes.
keep doing, grocery store
Sure.
reviews on. I'm talking about the big box. I could sit down and eat a whole big box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
That's what I remember. CC Sabathia. They asked him how he lost weight. He said I was eating a box of Captain Crunch a day.
So
I cut that out, and that was
And
the
a
start.
case of beer probably also helped, not crushing those every
He
couple of
did.
days.
He did have that problem. Yeah, he did. So, but I mean, he's better for it now.
But
obviously.
I'm with CC, the Captain Crunches.
Oh.
Now, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, John, I'm never going to defame.
They're both bangers of a cereal. They're both delicious cereals. in
But
my
the tough
opinion.
thing is, with the Cinnamon Toast Crunch, the milk is so cinnamony that, the next bowl, it is just unloaded because you're just dumping more cereal into the same bowl.
But that's the best part.
There's never enough milk. There's never enough cereal. So it's like, all right,
Or
I'm
you
just
don't
going to
mess
keep evening
around.
it out.
You don't mess around. You get the big salad bowl, and I'm not talking about the bowl that you eat at the
Yep.
table. I'm talking about the bowl you mix
The
salad
serving
in.
bowl. Yes.
And then you make the cereal in that.
Like
That's
in
how you do it.
like in
Mhm.
Friday, right? Like in Ice Cube in Friday when he had the
Yeah,
big
pretty
bowl.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, love that movie.
That's a great movie.
Yeah.
You see Robert Griffin III post the Friday clip last week when he got fired from ESPN?
I did
How
actually.
you going to get fired on your day off? Well, those
What's that mean?
firings ended up adding Mike Greenberg to Sunday NFL Countdown. So makes that show even less enjoyable. So NFL Network will be the pregame home, most likely coming up. That is your Quick Trip takeaway of the day, brought to you by Quick Trip. Need something for dinner tonight? Don't cook. Stop by your local Quick Trip. Pick up any of the snacks that we've just talked about, or one of their freshly prepared, absolutely delicious take-home meals like
Spaghetti, chicken Alfredo, potatoes, salad. He likes to stick to what he knows.
That's the thing. They definitely have circus peanuts. I would think.
I would suggest a box of Zingers. But if you want to go a little bit healthier, go and enjoy one of those Quick Trip take-home meals.
Yeah,
Might be
absolutely.
even better for you than, who knows, 4 crispy fried chicken sandwiches. That will probably be my lunch coming up here in a matter of moments. That'll be after we hand it off to the Mike Heller Show. That coming up next. For John Kuhn, Armin Sarian, I'm Billy Schmidt. We're going to try to be better tomorrow, but we're going to need a lot of help from you guys because you were amazing today on the Talk and Text line. It's been 9 to noon. We'll be back tomorrow at 9.